Love it when Patrick's coming in hot.
Live. All right. Yeah. So I have like a fold out or like a sliding thing on my desk that I guess would normally be for a keyboard on a desktop. So I have my laptop down there, but the webcam is just pulled up to the side and attached to a spray bottle on my desk to get a better angle. And none of my lights are on except for my overhead light, and I think it's helping because now there's no shadow. When this is on, there's a shadow.
Yeah.
Figure it out. So maybe as the sun comes out, we'll readjust.
Good to know.
Looks good though.
Morning, DC. Trey. Welcome in. Jen, everything all right in the studio? And Sunny? Looks like she's recording something already. Maybe she was just talking to me on my headset. I was listening.
Nah, our mic is muted.
You good here? All right. Oh, Perfect Stranger's going to start us off. Nice. Morning, Carlton. Yes, we are. I can't not be in a good mood starting the show with Perfect Strangers. Also, the fact that Patrick Perrette came in with a fully filled out whiteboard this morning, and he feels like he's got his whole situation going on the video stream.
As a camera situation, yeah, I think it's in the best spot possible. I think this is the best I can do. But I'm still trying to figure out how to situate my body so that everything can be seen. We got position group rankings up already.
Yeah, you got an issue. We got the cord coming in strong there from looking at you over your left shoulder, my right. But yeah, you're working. You're getting there. It looks like we've got some improvements going there.
Yeah, it's better.
What drove you? See, I feel like yesterday we talked a lot about the spring game. We were recapping it. It was obvious what the agenda was going to be, that and a little bit of Gamecock baseball, even though they had wrapped up with Arkansas on Friday. Today, I feel like, is really the first full day of the football offseason in a lot of ways. Spring football is in the books. They had a meeting yesterday. Shane Beamer sends them on their way. They're basically going to be off all month. And this is kind of the only month of the year that the football program is off these days. And in that way, I think we have a little bit more latitude maybe to get creative in what we're going to discuss every morning. Not quite as obvious as it has been in mornings past. And yet, I guess this week, the next week, probably not quite there because of the NFL draft going to kick off Thursday night. And Patrick just comes in with best position groups. What inspired you to fill out the whiteboard?
Well, just when you're trying to put the board together and look at what team's going to do what and when, it's important to know where the strengths and weaknesses of the class is. So I have the best groups on one side, and I also have the worst groups on the other side. So it's important to know, like, for example, it's a really, really poor year if you want like a defensive tackle, like a high-end defensive tackle. The only one that really deserves to be called on day one is Christian Barmore from Alabama. So with that in mind, if your defensive line is horrible and you know you need something, you're probably going to want to try and get Christian Barmore early. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself reaching early on day two or in the first round. I couldn't imagine someone taking another first-round defensive tackle, but you're not going to be in a good position if that's what you need. So that's the reasoning for this. what the positions that are deepest, you don't necessarily have to reach on.
Okay, let's go with your second group right there that you have on your worst groups. Yes, the headline. It drives me insane too. How this just happens to happen a couple of days beforehand. Your second worst group you have behind defensive interior is running back. Yesterday I saw the headline that now Clemson running back Travis Etienne is the most coveted running back. It has passed Najee Harris somehow.
Absolutely no way to know that.
Well,
so you're with me on draft night.
One team could say that, another team could not. And who put that out there? Kuiper or McShay? I mean, they could have just run with that one story.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine if the Steelers are drafting in round 1, they're taking Najee Harris. I'd be shocked if they took Travis Etienne. He's just not the style of running back that they've traditionally gone with. Certainly some teams will have Travis Etienne. He's a totally different type of runner than Najee Harris. The big three are all stylistically pretty different. Javonte Williams from North Carolina is an absolute just mauler of a running back. He is very, very fun to watch because he just loves contact and he will just run people over all day. He's not going to do anything for you as a receiver. Najee Harris is a little bit of the best of both worlds and has only gotten better every single year. He was awesome as a receiver this year. So if you want a pure 3-down back, then that's what you're going for. And Travis Etienne is just a different level of explosive that all those other guys are. So if that's what you're looking for, top end speed and home run hitters, then you're obviously taking Travis Etienne. So it just depends. But to say one is head and shoulders above the other, he is the guy now. I mean, I don't think that Vegas agrees. I think they have the exact same over-under last time I checked, which was 25.5.
I think this is the most frustrating week to read about the NFL and the NFL draft because also a headline I'm reading on ESPN.com, 49ers like 5 quarterbacks as a fit with the number 3 overall.
Of course they do.
The 49ers don't know anything. They don't know if we're all going to be alive on Sunday.
Only Kyle Shanahan doesn't know that.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan doesn't know who's going to be alive this weekend. Did you see this?
It's a legitimate. He's got a point. We don't know.
The quote when asked basically about Jimmy Garoppolo, is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah.
It has sent people. What is the exact quote here? I'm looking it up.
So the question was, will Jimmy Garoppolo be on the team next year? Do you think?
Can you guarantee that Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the team on Sunday? And he said, I can't guarantee we'll all be alive on Sunday.
Did he say anyone in the world?
That anybody in the world will be alive Sunday. So I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
Anyone in the world will be alive.
Patrick, you get into this more than Tim and I. Is this the most frustrating week for draft talk for you, or do you love this? Because it is funny, I'm sure that the 49ers 5 quarterbacks. Isn't there 5 quarterbacks that are going to go in the first 15 picks? They probably love Trevor Lawrence. They would probably love to land Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
But
I'm sure they love Zach Wilson too.
Yeah, so it does feel like hype, just the hype, but it feels like Tim accidentally logs onto ESPN and instantly just slams his laptop shut once he sees the headline and storms off.
This week is actually, you're going to get the best information, though. This week is where things start to clarify a little bit because if you go back a week before the 2018 draft, people still thought Sam Darnold would be the number 1 pick to Cleveland. And it was this week, 48 hours before, that you started to hear, no, they're going to take Baker Mayfield. And people still didn't believe it until the day of the draft. And it was wow. They're actually going to take Baker Mayfield because in the whole pre-draft process, nobody thought Baker Mayfield was going to be the number 1 pick. So, I mean, this is where we start to kind of get some clarity overall.
Some clarity and a lot of smoke show, I feel like, is what this week's about. And weeding through what is what, or trying to figure out what is a huge challenge and massively frustrating for some of us. Some of us absolutely love it. Some that might have a whiteboard filled out already this morning, headed in. You guys should have seen Bill's face as soon as he just logged on, or as soon as Patrick logged on. It was just a beaming smile. It looked like a pop over there today, seeing Patrick doing a little early work.
He's got I'm telling you, he's got the lighting going much better. You have to explain, I guess, when we take a break off air, why you're not staring at the camera today. You've already explained that one to us.
Yeah.
But,
it's kind of weird. I can make eye contact, but it feels weird for me to be just looking up to the left at nothing.
So we get that. Yep. So big day all the way around.
Speaking of draft day choices that had a long-lasting impact, Travis hits us up on the Facebook live stream this morning. I remember being upset that the Colts took Peyton Manning over Ryan. Good for you, Travis, admitting the truth and how you felt back in the day and how, that is the classic conundrum or draft hype, right? And what sticks out to me is the first 3 or 4 games, and Ryan Leaf is on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and it looks like even 3 or 4 games into their careers, early on in their careers on the field, it looks like he was going to be the better choice. And then obviously their career paths went in 2 distinctly different ways. And Patrick, what you brought up yesterday, I was thinking about this morning too. It's amazing how unforgettable some drafts can be. What was it we went over last night? The 99 draft, the year after that 98 draft with Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf going 1-2, that was 3 more quarterbacks going to the top of the 99 draft, and 2 of them ended up being very forgettable. It was Akili Smith at 3, Tim Couch at 1, and the only one who was halfway decent was Donovan McNabb at number 2. So taking what you have in front of you right now, or right behind you, I should say, that you got the worst groups on one side, you got the best groups going into this year's draft. What about just the 2021 draft? How do you think it stands versus other years from a talent standpoint?
That's interesting because there's like half the amount of guys that put their name in the draft than a normal year. Like, there are way less actual prospects than there have ever been. So I think on the high end, it's probably about as good as ever. But I think when you start getting to the later rounds, I think most of round 7 is going to end up being guys that in a normal year would be just priority free agents. So I would say it's not going to end up being incredibly deep. But when you go the first 2 days into round 4 and round 5, it'll still be as good as ever. But I think there's going to be a lot more guys in round 7, 6, and 7 that don't make teams than normal this year, and potentially free agents. I don't know. I don't know how many priority free agents will end up making teams, but yeah, I would say that there's a good chance that these. Although the other thing that comes into that is the salary cap going down so substantially. Teams are going to need guys on rookie contracts, so that will help. But the quality of the 6th and 7th round, I don't think will hold up.
Interesting, because I'm trying to think of, obviously you got Tom Brady as a classic story down there in those rounds, but other guys in the rounds that have kind of anywhere come close to defining drafts for me. Saw something on social media this morning that Stephon Diggs was a 5th rounder, talking about his approach, and I think his quote was something very similar that we heard from J.C. Horn when Horn was addressing the media before his pro day, talking about it's just a draft, and when the smoke clears and the whole thing, that's when the real work happens, and we really get to see what matters the most. It looks like on the live chat now, Chris weighing in about his Cowboys on the Facebook live stream, talking about he was not happy with Ezekiel Elliott and that choice. Maybe that's what we should go with to start this morning. The NFL draft pick that angered you the most.
Oh, it's a good one.
Through the years, because just the reactions too that we've seen through the years at the actual draft. I know it won't be quite the same in Cleveland today as it was a couple of years ago in Nashville. Read an article yesterday on The Athletic that caught up with the infamous bridesmaid, the infamous bachelorette party in Nashville that year. Bill, you don't remember that? There's a classic picture out there of
amazing.
A T-shirt that said "bride," and it was just angry ladies that were there. That Nashville.
There's the news. There's like a local news story. Yeah, local news story about it, because there were I think over 1 million people on Broadway, like for a whole night when on an entire Friday and Saturday night where these women thought they were going to have a bachelorette weekend, because Nashville's like the bachelorette weekend capital of the world.
It was a really interesting story because it happened to be that one of the bridesmaids was friends with a television reporter in town. That's how it got to be a TV story. Also, the bride was a big country music fan and was looking forward to the whole Nashville deal, and then she was not happy with a bunch of football fans.
Got to take a return trip. Nashville's always good for a return trip.
Well, she said at the time that my husband's not going to be watching any football now, which has.
What if they made it to the altar then?
Yeah,
well, that's on the
they caught up
maid of
2
honor,
years
right?
later. Good to go. What's that?
That's on the maid of honor for poor planning, right? Don't they plan that?
It is a little bit. You got to pay a little bit more attention, I would think. I mean, I've never planned a bachelorette party.
803-404-6100, the number in the program. You can call or text. We got the Cool Care Heating and Air text line up and rolling. John from Somerville. The Bears skipping over to Deshaun Watson is a pick I will never understand, and maybe that goes hand in hand. But has Jen started drinking yet? That's from Gamecock Will. There you go.
Welcome in.
Jen's producing from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. There to answer your calls this morning and guide you in the proper direction. Guide the show as always. At Jen Jensen Morse, where you can find her on Twitter. Patrick is at _Patrick Perrette. He is just a wealth of NFL draft knowledge this morning. At Will Gunter with 1L, where you can find Bill on Twitter. I'm at Tim Hill 1075. This is the early game. It's 1075.
You're what were we calling it? The most upset you've been with a draft pick, something like that. Maybe you want to give your team an award for a great draft pick. That would be pretty cool. You could mail them an award. Awards are always fun to receive, regardless of what they are. But Love Chevrolet has just won another massive award I need to tell you about. The 2020 Mark of Excellence Award. Chevrolet is once again presenting Love Chevrolet right here in Irmo with the 2020 Mark of Excellence Award. It's not just any trophy you put in the case. The Mark of Excellence Award is the highest honor any Chevrolet dealer can receive, and it's only given out to a handful of dealerships in the entire country each year. That's a trophy that you get pretty excited about, one you're pretty happy to receive. The Mark of Excellence represents Love Chevrolet's commitment to providing you with the absolute best sales, service, and customer care, like the largest selection to choose from, and of course, the financing options that Love Chevrolet has when you do choose that next vehicle. So go on by and check out Love Chevrolet. 60 years of amazing business serving you. Go find out why. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
There was also yesterday a ton of stories, and they seem legit, about Julio Jones is on the market now.
I saw that. So
are we expecting Jason?
Are we expecting a Garoppolo trade?
Dude,
I guess
when you hear what Shanahan said, when you hear what Lynch was even worse. Jimmy's been completely professional. That's about as clear as you can be, isn't it?
I think it would depend if Trey Lance is the pick. That would potentially change things.
Oh man. That latest text doesn't make your head explode, Patrick. I don't know what will.
Oh. Oh. Oh boy, that text line is something else.
Yeah, I saw some of Heath's text yesterday. There are only like 5 texters, I think, in his show, and most of them have like the the derogatory nicknames in the system.
Yeah.
Well, we all cultivate our own audience, I guess.
We do, yes. Good job, Jason. Way to be here early. You gotta join in the program.
Yeah, but I don't know if I enjoy that attitude, sir.
Oh. Yeah, that's not the kind of attitude that'll get you an invite to the live stream. To actually be owned.
That's right.
I'm trying to understand. I understand the gist of what he's saying, but he says Israel Mukwamu beasting it out at Georgia. Is that beasting it out? That is the spelling of Mukwamu is fantastic.
That's hilarious. Attaboy, at least he's coming in with a good sense of humor about it.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, look at you. You and Sonny are kindred spirits this morning, Patrick. All right, do you feel about, is that Kano?
Kano.
Yeah,
Does that mean you liked the movie, Sonny? Sounds like it. If it elicited emotion in you like that, I would think so. I think HBO Max has now become the #1 streaming service.
No, not just like that. I saw some numbers on it. It is doing well.
No, not like biggest, but it is now the best. Like if I could only have one streaming service, I think I would keep HBO Max at this point.
What HBO Max? What shows do they have? Like, do they have any kind of show besides HBO shows? Do they?
I don't know what they own. I know like they have TNT, TBS, True TV, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Looney Tunes, CNN. So some of the things like CNN, I don't even know what they have other than they have all those documentaries like the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. Those are awesome, fun documentaries. That show I was watching the other day was an Adult Swim show. And HBO just has all the best shows. Craig, this is not the time to cancel HBO Max. They have exclusive rights to every Warner Brothers movie for the next year. That's going to be the one that you want.
So, as I'm looking at this, you said that if you have HBO Max, these movies that are coming out, they're free, but they go off.
You get them for 30 days for free, yeah.
There you go. You got Sonny's.
So the Merry Saints of Newark is the Sopranos prequel, I believe.
Yeah.
Classic response to you, Patrick. Craig, I just canceled HBO Max.
Yeah.
I think I might sign up for it today.
It's awesome. And I mean, if there's any of the HBO shows that you haven't seen, they're all there.
I still haven't seen The Wire. I think that's the next list.
So good.
How did HBO Max end up with Friends? Who'd you say they have?
What did Friends come out on?
It was, I would think it would be on Peacock.
Was it an NBC show? It might be on Peacock.
It was an NBC show.
It was produced by Warner Brothers, so that's why, even though it aired on NBC, it is produced and owned by Warner Brothers, so HBO gets it.
Interesting.
Take a guess how much HBO Max paid to have exclusive streaming rights for Friends.
Oh. For how?
Mind you, this show's what, 20 years old now?
More. Yep.
More than that, 25, not 30, but it's close to 30.
What are the terms? How many years are we talking about, Patrick?
Let's see.
Or it doesn't say.
and Beckham.
Want to simplify the game? Twin Peaks giving you the chance to speak your mind whenever you feel like it. Our hot take hotline there for you 24/7. Call 803-978-6654. If you ever need to vent, maybe later on this week during the NFL draft, Thursday, Friday night, or all day Saturday, your team makes a pick and it just sets you off. Well, that's when you can just give 803-978-6654 a call and let it all out. Our hot take hotline sponsored by Twin Peaks for the men who never settle. Go see him down in Vista at 600 Gervais Street. Looks like Charles could have used the hot take hotline. He says nothing makes me more upset. This is on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, by the way, 844-6100. And when a quarterback is taken in the first round that has no business being there, guys like Christian Ponder, E.J. Manuel, Josh Rosen, and Ryan Tannehill, not first-round talents. I think Tannehill is kind of proven to be the best of that group. I'm with you on those other guys. I mean, how many more can we throw in there? So many, right? I mean, Achilles Smith, Jamarcus Russell probably headlining there. Bill's just grinning.
Well, I'm laughing because I looked at his text, and then I saw his other text from last Wednesday, and then I scrolled up, and I was like, man, this guy's got some pretty good takes. He's pretty. I like this guy. I like this Charles guy. We need more Texas. And then I get Thursday, April 15th. Bill thought Muschamp was going to do a good job in Columbia, so his takes are a joke. I was like, oh, it's hurtful. I like his pecan pie one, though, from last week, almost a week ago. Strong, Charles. Strong. Good stuff.
That's a good PSA for all you texters out there. When you do text in something, Bill will go back through your text history.
I do. I kind of
of the time.
I like to see the
context. You got to know the source.
You got to know you got to know who's texting in. At some point we tune you out. At some point you just flat get tuned out if everything is the same.
Well, speaking of that, I don't know if you went back through Papa Joe's texts, but he's got a question for Patrick that I did not see coming this morning. I don't think will earn him a lot of football points with everyone on the show right now. As a draft expert, Patrick, can you explain how J.C. Horn is now rated higher than Israel Mukuamu, who beasted it out at Georgia the year before last? Mukuamu seems to have physical tools that would outweigh J.C. Horn. Floor is yours.
He has height that outweighs J.C. Horn. He doesn't have any physical tools that outweigh J.C. Horn. He's not faster. He's not quicker. He's not stronger. He's really not anything. He just jams people out the line. And if you didn't watch the Georgia game, everyone's opinion on Mukuamu would probably be vastly different. And J.C. Horn has just consistently shut down number one wide receivers for 3 years now. So it's really not even close. Even Kyle Pitts said that J.C. Horn was the best player to ever cover him in college.
Is Mukuamu going to get drafted almost strictly based off of the Georgia game? Because I don't know how much else there is there that makes you think what's he going to end up going? What have you got, a third, fourth round, fifth round?
No, I think it'll be later than that. I think there's a lot of good corners in this class. I think he'll be like a later day 3 guy.
Wait, flip that board over then. Where you got him? You got your you got your
best groups, yeah.
It looks like you have them ranked number 4 corners.
There's because corners come in all shapes and sizes in this class. I was very specific on the first 3 groups, but corner and linebacker. I mean, there's just a lot of guys that every style that you want.
Does that say short-armed offensive tackles?
Yep.
That's a group.
No, so the group is interior offensive linemen.
Thank you, Jim.
And then short-armed offensive tackles. Yeah, so this year, that's the thing. That's a weird thing this year, that all of the best tackles, except for Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech, have under 34-inch arms. And apparently lots of offensive line coaches in the NFL call that a deal breaker for tackles. Like, there's just baselines for certain things. And, like, wide receivers that can't run, that are above a 4.6, that's a deal breaker. And offensive tackles that are sub 34-inch arms generally get bumped down to guard. So there's obviously exceptions, lots of exceptions, and Penei Sewell will certainly be an exception. And depending on Rashawn Slater, where he gets drafted to, will probably be an exception. But there's going to be a lot of guys. Like, most people think that Jackson Carman from Clemson will end up playing guard in the NFL. Liam Eichenberg, who was a 4-year starter for Notre Dame at tackle, is going to probably end up playing guard. Like, there's a lot of good tackles that are going to end up moving down to guard, which is not uncommon whatsoever in college.
Not that I'm not thrilled about arm length, but if you can humor me, Chris, as a Cowboys fan, says that I've read that the Cowboys are going to take J.C. Horn.
Yeah.
What's the latest, Patrick? What kind of numbers are we talking for J.C. Horn?
I think Chris is onto something. I mean, the word was Patrick Surtain, because Patrick Surtain is maybe the safest defensive player in the entire draft. He's just so smart, like never gets beaten deep. What he doesn't do is just completely lock people up like J.C. Horn does, but he's just really smart and can play any type of coverage. But Dan Quinn, who was the defense coordinator for the Seahawks during the Legion of Boom days, and then got fired from the Falcons recently, or I guess last year, he likes press corners like that. Like, that is what they play. Like, he likes guys to jam at the line and get up in people's faces. And the Cowboys already have that in Trayvon Diggs. So if they get J.C. Horn across from him, it would kind of make a lot of sense. Like, they would just be super aggressive at all times. Like, when they had Richard Sherman and Brandon Browner and were just in people's grills at all times, J.C. Horn would be a pretty solid fit for that team. And I think the Vegas numbers are starting to shift, because everyone was getting on J.C. Horn at like plus 350 to be the top defender taken. And I think those numbers are starting to drop. A lot of people are on board with that.
Whoa, J.C. Horn was the Vegas favorite?
No, he was plus 350. Surtain was the
gotcha.
favorite, but J.C. Horn's plus 350, and a lot of people are jumping on that because it's the best value. There's no value in betting a Patrick Surtain against the field to be the first.
But when are the Cowboys choosing? What overall?
10.
10 overall.
Yeah.
So as high as 10 overall is kind of the way the ceiling is right now for J.C. Horn, I feel like?
Seems like it. Yeah. I would not be surprised. I would almost – if I had to predict who the Cowboys are taking, I think I'm almost to the point where I would say it's just going to be J.C. Horn.
Interesting. Trying to think of the last Gamecocks who played through the Cowboys through the years. Anthony Wright getting a few starts there back in his day. This is almost 20 years ago, probably.
Devontae Holloman played. Devontae
Holloman. Remember,
I do have Gamecock draft trivia as it pertains.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Well, let's go ahead and get some. I mean, why would we not do that right now?
Well, so the inspiration was if all the 5 Gamecocks that are draft eligible that we think might get drafted this year, both the corners, Horn, Mukwamu, Ernest Jones, Shi Smith, and Sedarius Hutcherson. If all 5 of them get drafted, that would be 9 players in the last 2 years, which would be the second 2-year run in South Carolina history. And 5 players would also be the 3rd best ever in South Carolina. There were 2 classes that had 7 guys.
Wait. Second 2-year run?
So in 2 years, that would be 9 players drafted. That's only ever happened one other time, and in 12 and 13. In 2012 and 2013, they had 13 players drafted in those 2 years combined. So I have the list of all those guys.
This would be the best number besides that? This would be the second 2-year run.
Yeah, and then 5 players, 2009 for South Carolina, 2009 and 2013, they had 7 players drafted in each of those drafts. And in 2012, they had 6. So this would be the best besides those 3 years.
Wait a second. In 2008 and 2010, they didn't get 2 guys drafted?
No, they didn't get. Yeah. And
that would give you the 9.
It would give you 9, yeah. Right? So 9 would tie it, yeah. Only 1 2-year run. 12 and 13 was better than that.
Gotcha.
Their numbers for 12 and 13 were ridiculous. 13 guys drafted in 2 years is a lot. Not compared to Alabama, who will have 11 this year, but.
Right. And what was it, LSU? Did they hit 14 last year?
They had 14 last year.
Record?
Yeah.
And Chris did mention Rico Dowdle. If you're yelling at your car right now, Rico Dowdle, part of the Dallas Cowboys.
Undrafted, though.
But, undrafted last year. All right. What kind of trivia do you want to hit us up with?
I just wrote down. Yesterday I was quizzing Bill. I'm like, can you name all of the Dolphins or all the Miami Hurricanes that were drafted in 2004? So I have the list for all of those years of the guys that were drafted.
Okay.
And I was going to see who would be able to name them all.
Ooh, that's impressive. I think we should start with, you said it was
2009 has guys that I don't even know who they are. So that's 100% you guys. That was
7
before,
guys in
7 guys
2009 drafted.
Yeah.
All right. I think I remember that draft specifically.
7 guys from where?
2009.
South Carolina, sir.
South Carolina,
University
yeah.
of South
I'll
Carolina
give you
Gamecocks. 7 guys in the year 2009. Now, this is coming off of, so we're talking about the 2009 draft following the 2008 season. Yes? This is how we're going to use terminology, right?
Yes.
So it's always like the year following where you get the year you played. So
3
I'm trying to think
offensive players, 3 defensive players.
Right, and 1 Mr. Irrelevant. Correct? So Ryan Suckup is the reason why I specifically remember that draft. He was the last pick for
who the first pick was that year.
The first pick.
It wasn't the first pick of the draft, like
no, it was the third round.
Okay, so wow, so they had 7 guys selected between rounds 3 and 7.
Yeah.
Okay, and the first one went in the 3rd round from the Gamecocks. A 3rd round pick in 2000.
All right, I've got 2 of the guys that were drafted. I've got an offensive and a defensive guy, and no Chris. It was not Chris Culliver. I'm thinking I'm gonna take a guess and go with Jared Cook in the 3rd round.
He was the first one.
Yep.
Well done, sir.
Okay, so three 5th rounders and 3 7th rounders.
Okay. All right. Captain Muddlelin's gonna be another one.
7th round.
7th round. So you got those 2. I don't think Emmanuel Cook got drafted. He didn't get drafted. All right.
So is this the year after that Outback Bowl then?
Yeah, where Cook and Muddlin are basically searching the field after getting whipped, looking for anybody to put them on TV to declare so they could say they declared. Yeah, that was the game.
I think Chris did get one right after getting Chris Culliver incorrect. I think he has bounced back to get Jasper Brinkley.
Drafted to who?
Minnesota.
There you go.
Yeah, Minnesota Vikings. Well done. Kenny McKinley is a guest from Jason.
Yep.
He's on the board.
Second guy off the board. Jasper Brinkley was the 3rd guy off the board.
The Broncos.
Okay, so now we've got top 3 picks.
We've got McKinley. We've got Cook. We've got Brinkley. We've got Muddlin. And we're missing one more off. Excuse me. Jared Cook. We've got Jared Cook and Kenny McKinley offensively.
1 offensive, 1 defensive player.
Left, right? I think I know the offensive player. Went to the Dallas Cowboys, I believe. Is that correct, Patrick?
He went to the Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Oh, now that's surprising. Okay. And
offensive lineman?
Yes.
Offensive lineman, was it? It wasn't.
See, I thought it was the center there who ended up playing a bunch of years.
Jean-Pierre?
No,
it's either Garrett Chisholm or Lemuel Jean-Pierre. Or was it a tackle? Oh, now we're getting the tackle. Tackle early on.
And I was thinking, I know Garrett Anderson got a tryout there with the Packers. That was a little later on.
From Simpsonville, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
This was Travell Wharton was way before that.
It was
tackle. In-state people are yelling right now. Maybe
I know. I'm yelling at
myself.
myself. I'm with everybody else on this. This is
fun game.
Just get it.
Nope, nothing on the line. Yeah, let me check the Cool Care Heating and Air text line here. Let's see. Todd's weighing in with just some Cowboys stuff here. Yep, nobody else is with the Gamecock trivia that year. I do like Trey, who weighed in with a good. Y'all are short arms for an offensive lineman considered lacking arm talent.
Say that. Looks like this guy played 2 years in South Carolina.
He only played 2 years?
Oh, no. He only recorded defensive stats for 2 years, even though he's an offensive player.
So that's not Lemuel Jean-Pierre? That's what it sounds like.
Nah.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know who he is. I've never heard the name, but he did spend 6 years in the NFL. No, offensive. Drafted as offensive tackle to the Packers.
Okay, I think we're stumped officially. Give us some initial.
JM.
Jamon Meredith.
There you go.
Nice. Well done.
To narrow that one down. That was the early days of recruiting.
And the last one was a DB to the Giants, 7th round.
A DB to Stoney Woodson.
There you go.
Wow.
7 guys. best draft South Carolina ever had, tied with 2013.
Yeah, I think 2013 takes the cake with the number 1 overall pick. And
that was Clowney was drafted with only. Who was the only other player drafted with Clowney?
Oh, another great question. There's only one other Gamecock
draft. 2-man.
Jadeveon Clowney. Who would it have been after the 2013 season, the 2014 draft?
Ace Sanders.
Nope. Ace was 2013.
Really?
You guys getting this obnoxious tone with Bill? Just saying it really fast and walking off.
I thought for sure you declared after that. It's all right. I would have.
Dude, I mean, you're close.
As a wide receiver?
That's what I'm hearing. It wasn't Alshon.
No, he left after the Nebraska game.
This was after the Wisconsin game. Oh, wait. Y'all dominated that along with Bruce Elliott.
Bruce Elliott.
Yep.
Oh, wait. I had my years. That was stupid of me. Ace Sanders did leave after the Michigan game, right, Tim?
That sounds correct.
And I was thinking, when he said that, I was thinking the bowl game because of, I had my games right. I did not have my years correct. Good job, guys. Good.
That was Gamecock Draft Trivia, brought to you by Patrick's Whiteboard, sponsored by Anthony from.
Should be more of that.
It was the first time that I ever heard of Stoney Woodson.
Yeah, good player, man. Good player, and it's why Gamecock football. It's one of the reasons why went with the DBU moniker for as long as they did. Even a guy like that you haven't heard of, right, was drafted in the NFL. Yeah. It's almost, it kind of goes back to Papa Joe's question. You guys were talking about Israel Mukwama, and you were saying, well, outside of that Georgia game, Hurley hadn't done much. And in my mind, if you start at corner at Carolina for multiple years, even for 1 year, you have almost earned yourself the right to go to the NFL draft in years past. Now, the last couple of years, maybe not necessarily with what we've seen then.
You say that, but yeah. I mean, look, Tim, they've sent Rashad Fenton. Keyshawn Nixon is still with the Raiders. Right. Obviously, you're going to have J.C. Horn out there. I mean, it is kind of weird just the guys that end up going to the NFL from South Carolina as defensive backs.
J.T. Ebel, Panthers now.
Right? You were talking about physical tools. They were there in that pro day. They were very similar to J.C. Horns outside of the 40 time. 803-404-6100, number into the show. You can call or text. We need to take a quick break. Love where we're taking the direction of this show on NFL Draft Week. You're listening to the early game here on 107.5.
That was a good segment led by our draft guru, Patrick. That's right. He's a guru. If you need draft information, you can just text in. You can join the live stream, ask him questions during the break. He's a guru full of knowledge. That's what gurus do. They're full of knowledge. They're also there to help you. That's why Jacob Crowder has been the mortgage guru for South Carolina for a long time, helping people, being knowledgeable, knowing how to save people money, and he's still doing it. As a matter of fact, he's helping more families now, and he's brought in Brian Kovar to help teach him how to be a guru and to help you as well. Give the Guru Boys a call. Brian and Jacob with First Palmetto Bank, 803-719-1005. Jacob's helping people save $200, $300, $400 a month on their monthly mortgage payment when they refinance. And if you're looking to purchase that brand new home, interest rates being as low as they are now is a golden opportunity you don't want to pass up. 803-719-1005. You can email them to letter J, Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com. Again, great opportunity to do it. You just need to start by either shooting a text message or giving Jacob a call. And that number again, 803-719-1005. He's the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank.
Chris, you don't have to fill that spot with the draft automatically.
Chris, you don't have to fill that spot at all because you haven't counted him playing for about 5 years. And you have Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch.
2015, 2016, I think, when he made the Pro Bowl back in the day.
Yeah, and he tears his ACL every year. Death taxes and Sean Lee tearing his ACL.
Somebody hit us up with from Lexington. Was guessing Justice Cunningham. Haven't heard that name in a while. He said he was he Mr. Irrelevant?
He was drafted 254th in 2013, so that might be Mr. Irrelevant. There's always a different number of picks.
I think so.
Let's see. Yeah, he was Mr. Irrelevant.
Never forget that catch he made at Vanderbilt where his helmet goes popping off. That was to start the season.
Man, I'm just scrolling up from the bottom to see the first player I've actually heard of.
In which draft?
The 2013 draft. I'm not sure there's a single.
I don't know what I was wrong, but that A. Sanders thing, I was for some reason I locked in on the Michigan game being the final game, and I don't know why I thought that for Clowney too, because obviously that was the hit, and then we had to debate for the offseason whether he was going to play 2013 or not, or 2011 was Nebraska and Orlando. 2012 was Michigan and Tampa, and 2013 was Wisconsin.
He hasn't been in a while.
The 2013 draft, Patrick, is what you were looking at?
Yeah, right. That's their best draft.
So that would have A. Sanders, maybe Travian Roberts. Or how many guys were drafted?
7.
In 2013?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying that one.
Not much NFL success at all.
So it's the opposite of the year before, I think. Maybe it's 2011.
Yeah. Very much so.
That was with Alshon and Melvin Ingram, right?
Yeah. And Gilmore.
Oh, was Ingram in 2012? I was thinking Ingram was going to be in this one.
Those three guys you can argue are in the argument for best NFL career ever. Same draft.
Yeah, it's got to be Gilmore, right?
Yeah. Point.
You win Defensive Player of the Year.
Jonathan Joseph was the other one we were talking about with several months ago.
Yes, a game-winning interception in the Super Bowl and a Defensive Player of the Year.
Pretty good.
And a first-round pick. It's actually a good question from the texter. Let's see how many Mr. Irrelevant by year.
Does South Carolina have 2 Mr. Irrelevants? Is that?
Yeah. Okay, I found a couple schools tied. No one has more.
No one has more?
No one has more, but they're tied with Weber State, Northwestern State, Georgia, and Colorado.
Sounds about right.
I would say that Ryan Suckup might be the best of all of them, though.
Who's that?
Suckup might be the best of all of them.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
You know the guy's bad when he doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
NFL draft analyst, he's doing Mr. Irrelevant research right now after a text into the Cool Care Heating and Air text line from Neil. Anyone have more Mr. Irrelevance than South Carolina? If that's coming from the Clemson shot camp. You have to also go. If you're going the last pick of the NFL draft, you have to flip it and remember the 2 number 1 overall picks in the NFL draft as well. And the Gamecocks have the symmetry there, correct, Patrick? 2 final picks and 2 first picks as well. And you're looking that no other school has more than 2 last picks of Mr. Irrelevant. Is that correct?
No, but Weber State, Northwestern State, Georgia, and Colorado all have 2 as well.
I think we're thoroughly getting into our NFL draft research this morning.
Yeah, this is pretty intense here. I did like. Did you hear Patrick just breaking down another? I guess Mr. Irrelevant said, "No, he's no good. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page."
Oh yeah, I was trying to see if anyone had a better career than Ryan Suckup, and half these guys don't have a Wikipedia page, which means they're completely irrelevant. Even guys that played like 2 years in the league have Wikipedia pages.
So you're giving them the first name of completely?
Yeah.
They're completely irrelevant.
Completely irrelevant. Yes.
Hour number 1.
The best.
Wrapping up now. I love the Gamecock NFL draft trivia. We'll continue that throughout the morning. We'll see if Bill continues to give some walk-off answers that may or may not be right.
Yeah, you just keep shooting your shot.
Hour number 2 next.
Receive contactless payments with an Intuit QuickBooks bank account.
So, Bill, apparently we have a sleeve number to cut.
Watching the bubble to crack.
There we go. Fix that. Yeah, you want to do that real quick?
Yeah, may as well, since we were given all kinds of notice to get it done.
I'm going to take him out. You guys will do your business. Go do your business. All right, Patrick, I'm going to come up with some other words, some other code words like John Lynch used to describe Jimmy Garoppolo.
What did he say? He's been completely professional?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a great question. Kevin Harris seems to be just the most underappreciated player in the country. I don't know how the NFL will look at him. The fact that he just got no postseason recognition after leading the conference in rushing is mind blowing. He has to get drafted if he does anything close to what he did this year, I would think. Is this code words for guys that know they're screwed but are just general managerial?
Aggressive compliments.
Yeah. Okay.
See what else we got. Neil says that was not a shot. He was asking about the Mr. Irrelevant. It's just a cool stat.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be ashamed of having Mr. Irrelevance. They're getting drafted.
Get to have a parade.
Yeah.
That's cool. Much better than being another pick in the 7th round, I feel like, which is much more irrelevant.
Yeah, that's where guys don't even. At least you get a title out of it and a trip to Disney, because the end of the 7th round, that's where guys don't even want to get drafted. They just want to be able to pick their team.
Let me figure out where I want to go. Well, that will be interesting to me, Sonny, when we see where Hutcherson goes. You got Hutcherson as a 3rd-day guy, right?
Yeah, but didn't Donald Stanley didn't get drafted.
Right.
He definitely thought that's a Did Devin Staley not get drafted either? No, he didn't, right?
No,
He
I
was round
think he
6.
get drafted late round. What do you got him at?
He was round 6. I mean, who was better, Donnell Stanley or Sedarius Hutcherson? Aren't they very similar, I think?
Yeah, different type guys. I would say Stanley has more of these words on here, and Hutcherson is a more dynamic guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's like Hutcherson's very powerful, which is going to be his calling card, but I think he's old. He's also 23. Soon, or just turned 23, okay.
Yeah, but in lineman years, not that old.
No, not that old. So I don't know. I'd be surprised.
Carolina has a tight end guy, or defensive end, too. All right, Bill, I'm going to start hour number 2 with passive-aggressive insults.
Do we have passive-aggressive insults?
John Lynch, Jimmy Garoppolo has been very professional.
Wait, you think that's a passive-aggressive insult?
Absolutely. We can talk about it on the show, sir.
All right, let me get some coffee.
Feel free to get in on that on the live chat. You guys got some great compliments you never want to hear. Why would you? Why would you limit that at round 2 or 3, guys, Craig?
Yeah.
Why couldn't first rounders? I mean, I feel like Enigbare is legit. Pickens has got to play himself to be a prospect.
Yeah, he's got 2 years to do so also.
Right. Yeah, David, I just wrote that down. Great personality. Well done, sir. And what's the teacher version of that? David, as our resident principal. I'll give my teacher version of that in a minute. Of course they could be. They could be round 1 through 7 guys.
Yeah, I really don't know what Enigbare would go this year.
And there's a clip. Oh, nice. David says the teacher version of that is, they're great. Yeah, we almost only have pessimists in the comment section.
We have pessimists in the comment section?
All right, here we go, kids.
I'm coming in.
All right.
NFL draft week. Highs and lows. It's almost like I can't look away a lot of times. Certainly gives us an excuse to talk football. You see great moments. Tears shed, dreams realized, but as we sit here 2 days before round number 1, we also get a headline like ESPN.com. 49ers like 5 QBs as a fit with the number 3 overall pick. And yesterday, Kyle Shanahan, their coach, gave us one of the all-time quotes. And this will follow him forever, don't you guys think? This might be, beside his Wikipedia summary, it might say Kyle Shanahan, and then what he dropped yesterday when he was asked basically about the future of his quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. Quote, I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee you who will be on our roster on Sunday. That goes for all.
Is there audio of this? I really want to find it. Oh, I
There's got to be somewhere. I mean, I
found it. I'll let's do it in the break because I want to know his inflection in this. Like, was he angry? I don't know that he was gonna be alive.
No, that was a total sell job. That's when that's why I don't even understand it. Why do coaches and GMs even come out this time of year and do their fake phony press conferences trying to me it's only insulting your fans. Because real fans
want him to, hold on. What do you want him to?
Don't want your organization to tip their hand right now, right?
Also, he might not know.
But what do you want him to say?
That's what I'm saying. You're not in a position where you can say anything.
It is. I think he might not know though, because from what it sounds like, the decision is between Mac Jones and Trey Lance, and it seems like Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones because he can execute Kyle's offense and do all the things. Kyle loved Kirk Cousins and thought he was going to get Kirk Cousins before they traded for Jimmy Garoppolo in the first place. And then the scouts like Trey Lance because they want the upside, and there's no reason to trade 3 first-round picks for Mac Jones, who you probably could have just moved up a couple spots and gotten. So there is a reasonable chance that he actually doesn't know who they're going to take, if he's going to be allowed to take the guy he wants, or if ownership and the executives are going to step in and say, no, sorry, we're going to take Trey Lance.
How much do you think that happens? Put a percentage on it where the head coach doesn't know who they're going to take or isn't involved in everything.
A lot. I think it's a lot because that's where it gets tricky. Like it definitely varies
like
from the team. The owners know. I don't know. I mean, I think like going team by team in Washington, the head coach doesn't get to make the decision. None of them wanted Dwayne Haskins. The owner stepped off and said, "You're taking Dwayne Haskins. He went to school with my son. This kid's great. You're taking him." And I know that Jerry Jones has the reputation that he makes those decisions all the time, but there's also been times where, like, he wanted Johnny Manziel, he wanted Paxton Lynch, and they wouldn't let him go get those guys. So it definitely varies from team to team, but the owners for sure step in a lot, and especially when it's involved with quarterbacks.
Interesting. Do you? I thought he was being nice. Like I think these guys have to do these media appearances. Obviously GMs and head coaches. They've got to do something here before the beginning of the week. Give the media boys some comments and things like that. And then at the end of the day, yeah, they're going to get hit with difficult questions or questions that, as you said, normally you don't want to have to answer and talk about and reveal your strategy or talk about a guy who might be about to be traded, who took you to the Super Bowl, 2 years ago? Is that right? 2 years ago? So, I don't know. I don't know what he's supposed to say. What's he supposed to go out there and be like, yeah, we don't like Jimmy anymore, and we don't think he's a very good quarterback. Now, we're going to try and trade him to somebody here, and hopefully they'll like him. But no, I mean, it's okay. The professional comment, and Kyle Shanahan's comment, while yes, I agree with Jason on the live stream. It was a little dark, maybe. I do agree that I think he was doing it more of a joke, I guess. Patrick, I'll be interested when you hear the audio, what the tone is on that. If it's more exasperation, as we get from Jen sometimes with bad questions or orders, or if it was just more of a joking, like, he's just kind of playing it off and putting something out there to be funny.
I need to look at his. Yeah, I need to look at his cap, see if they can actually cut him, because you do need to find a trade partner. So it's not like they can just ship him off anywhere. He does. I think he actually can be cut for very minimal cost. So yeah, I'd probably say like 25%. It depends if he wants to be a team player and just kind of suck it up, or try and beat out the rookie for as long as he can hold him off this year. Even though I think almost 100% of top 5 quarterbacks have ended up starting at least some game by. I think the number was like week 5, that almost every top 5 pick starts by week 5. So if Jimmy just is professional, continues to be professional, then he might have to just bite the bullet and be a 49er this year, and then go wherever he pleases next year if they can't find a trade partner.
Is he a starter in the NFL? Is he one of the top 32 quarterbacks?
Well,
I feel like we had this conversation with Teddy Bridgewater a year ago. I feel like Garoppolo is this year's Teddy Bridgewater.
I mean, I'd rather have Garoppolo than Andy Dalton, who's going to start in Chicago this year, I think.
Take that, Jen.
And
I think he's better than Jared Goff. I'd rather have him Jared Goff, who's going to start in Detroit this year most likely. Yeah, I think he's a starter.
Okay, all right. So, that's
404-6100. Love to hear your thoughts this morning as we continue to have it cranked up on the early game live stream. I had some video issues there, threw us off a little bit. I'm shocked that it's the first time I've had the old internet. You guys see me just disappear on the live video.
Yeah.
What happened on your end?
I thought your computer died or something.
Yeah, I ended up trying to restart it, the whole thing. I think I'm back now. You guys got me? You see my
gotcha.
face up on YouTube, Facebook Live, also roll the station handle at 1075 The Game, where you can find us there. You want to just grab the telephone line, Love Chevy phone lines, 803-404-6100. You can also text us at that same number, Cool Care Heating and Air text line. You got Gamecock Draft Trivia. Did some in hour number 1. We'll do some in hour number 2 as well. Brought us some names we haven't brought up on the show in a while. Mon Merritt, Justice Cunningham, a couple of names that we haven't. Stoney Woodson, Bill was a good pull from him back in the day as well. Patrick's done some research and admitted that you don't even know some of these names. Never heard of them. So we're educating this morning, also going down memory lane. It's all part of the NFL draft process. Again, 803-404-6100, the number. You're listening to the early game here. It's 1075 The Game. Private chat has been deleted. That's not.
Get it worked out over there?
Yeah, I think all right. Unless I'm supposed to do a live here.
Bill, you had a delay at some points there.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I couldn't tell. Did it fix itself out?
I think it got better. Couldn't completely tell. I listened to
a delay too. What are you saying?
Yeah,
you're saying I heard delay.
Yeah, I heard that too. That will not go down as one of our epic segments.
Don't send that one to the Marconi Awards.
Exactly.
That's just those ones are hard just because if there's dead air for a second, I can start talking, but then Bill will start receiving the audio and he'll start talking, and then we'll both be talking. And then we'll both stop talking at the same time, inevitably.
Yeah.
Tim, did you see the Shanahan audio? Do you want me to send it to Jen? Do we want it?
I sent it. It looked like there was 45 seconds at the top of that ESPN article. I assume that's what it was.
I found a 9-second version of it.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and send that to her?
Right. We had either another wasp or a hornet or murder hornet or whatever building a home above my door. Yeah, I feel like I got internet here, right here, just kind of went loopy on me.
So Jen Patrick is sending you or has sent you just the audio we're looking for. Don't worry about my link earlier.
I don't know if she has
Might be actually working there.
One of those mornings. This is what happens when you get the post spring game energy level. Like we're almost to summer, but we're not actually into summer.
Saturday's Derby Day. That usually starts the what is that? The start of not the start of summer.
Nah, Memorial Day weekend is the start of summer. This is more of pre-summer. This is
Derby starts the sprint to summer.
Yeah. Who's the favorite this year?
Essential Quality is the favorite, and Hot Rod Charlie is the second favorite.
I think the Hot Rod one is from South Carolina.
Is it?
I might do some reading on that today. So I got over the weekend. I wanted to be more sophisticated, so I signed up for the Wall Street Journal. I forget if I said that yesterday.
Oh my gosh. Can't wait. We need to get a daily Wall Street Journal review from you.
Yeah. So I've been trying to read my WSJ.com the last few mornings to keep up with the news. Old timey clip of the day. What was it? The 90 some odd Women's World Cup.
Is this the PK?
Yeah, Randy Chastain.
Heck of a call.
Did
Go.
you play the radio call or the TV call?
I'm pretty sure that was a TV call. Go.
It's more of a visual.
Jen would like to hear the Shanahan clip after I do a little intro here, a little liner.
Okay.
Thank you. Starts about 40 minutes from now, goes until 5 p.m. today and every weekday until May 12th here on 107.5 The Game. It's $25K workday payday. The number stays the same where you text in every hour at 95819. The secret keyword changes every single hour. And 8 o'clock is when we start that thing, goes to 5 p.m. And it's $25K workday payday here on 107.5 The Game. Right now, I wanted you to hear what we've been talking about for the last few minutes. And mostly this morning, I would say, Kyle Shanahan, the San Francisco 49ers coach, took him to a Super Bowl. And then it got much more difficult. Asked about his starting quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and the likelihood, I think the way the question was phrased, that he would be on the roster come Sunday after this NFL draft later this week.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
You guys are snickering and giggling.
He's not
You're
wrong.
Not wrong. Not wrong. You're with me. This is not what
You're not wrong.
What you suggested. It might be a joke, or he was just kidding, or that was classic coach speak, right? Hey, you asked me a question, I got an answer for you. Yeah, you guys take this.
Do you think he had that ready?
No, I don't think he had that ready.
You think he thought of that on the fly?
I think that was a evade and move on move.
I mean, he knew he was going to get asked about Jimmy Garoppolo, and maybe he didn't know the exact phrasing of it, but I wonder if he planned out some just good one-liners before.
But you got to have supreme confidence to be in a position as a head football coach in the NFL. A guy like Kyle Shanahan has been around it his whole life. I mean, he's thought of as one of the smarter guys in the league, right? One of the smartest football guys out there. And so take that into the press conference. You say, this situation, I'll handle it. I got it. Here's what I'm thinking. That we just can't guarantee it, and that's where we'll go from there. And then that pops out. Come on, man. Again, that what I hear right there. And then John Lynch didn't do any more favors when he talked about Jimmy Garoppolo being professional. To me, I mean, that is just blinking lights. Not our guy. Not our guy is how I translate that.
I'm watching the video because now I'm with you guys. I mean, look, there's not a whole lot to break down right now in the sporting world. So breaking down Kyle Shanahan's video here, he looks way too serious on this, like absolutely way too serious. Especially he's got looks like a black hoodie on or a black shirt. His ears are kind of pointed out. He just looks very intense, as if he's describing the final 2 minutes of a football game as well in an important play that happened.
It's why these press conferences are ridiculous this time. I feel like we should have fan representatives instead of team representatives. All right, here's what we want. Stop screwing it up. This is what we need. That would that would be a great Bears press conference right now. Just throw all the guys under the bus that they've drafted through the years and screwed up. Don't do this again. Don't Trubisky us again. Anything like that. That would be much better than these ridiculous press conferences that we're getting. And again, I don't know why teams even do it if you're not going to give real information. What I just heard from Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch about being professional and, hey, none of us are guaranteed to be here on Sunday. That's like, hey, how's your new girlfriend? Oh, she's committed. Commitment it's good commitment there. Or like David said on our live video chat, he's a principal. It's call it a teacher good with kids. They're really good with kids. It means
I think
they can't teach a lick.
I think the week you were out, we played some audio. I can't remember what it was. What was Bill, do you remember who was talking when they said like, oh yeah, he's gonna get better because he comes in here and practices every day? It's like, okay. So he's not very good is what you're saying. I can't remember who it was. I'm gonna have to go back and find it.
This is like the Keanu Reeves line, right? Was it the movie The Replacements? 90% of life is showing up, and I'm amazed at your ability to just show up. That's kind of the point. You got that is the requirement.
I think it was Torian Gray when he was talking about how green the defensive back room is, and I think they were asking about specific people, and he's like, oh yeah, well he's getting better. He's coming in and he's working every day, so he'll get better. Okay, so he's not good is what you're saying. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. These guys, these coaches, you put them in these situations, they're not built for not all of them are Mike Leach with the funny quotes and ready to talk things out with the media.
He's one that definitely doesn't script.
Yeah, some of these guys are just ready to get back to their whiteboards. I mean,
I think Mike Leach just hijacks it.
Right?
Mike Leach just hijacks it.
He
just if he doesn't want to get asked a question, he just goes on a tangent.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about
aliens,
Bigfoot, whatever. Just throw it all out there and take a much more interesting turn. So just stop giving these press conferences. Don't do it. Don't pretend. Don't go through the charade of you're giving your fans information. You're not. I mean, why would you? This is where the fans wanting information about their team actually hurts their team. right? If they put it out there, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Like you want to be clued in, you want to know, but ultimately you want your team to be its best. And so it's completely at odds right now, these few days especially. When I want to hear from teams about their NFL draft is after the draft. Give me how it went down. Man, we really feel like we got a steal. I would love to see a post-draft press conference when they're like, boy, we got the Cowboys on this one from the Eagles or whatever. Here's what we did, guys. We put out the idea that we were going to go for this guy. Oh, we didn't want that guy. We got our guy. We suckered him. We never hear that until years later.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, it's also hard though if you want to try and people have been talking about. I've been thinking about also what should the Falcons don't want to pick at 4. So the Falcons would love to trade down, but really for all of the teams behind them, there's no reason to trade all the way up to 4. You can just try and move to 6 or 7 because the Bengals they're gonna stick and pick at 5. So you can move to 6 or 7. So what do the Falcons do to try and drum up interest in that pick? Do they announce, hey, we're open for business, we want to trade down? Do they say, hey, we want a quarterback, we're going to take a quarterback, so you better try and trade with us? So that's where the communication you have to read the tea leaves and try and figure things out. And from a team standpoint, I don't know what they should do. I don't know how to manage that situation.
But why do you say they don't want to pick there?
Well, because they have a lot of needs. Their salary cap situation is not good, and they want Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase or Penny, so whoever it might be. They don't need to be the first person to take a skill player when there's going to be a run on quarterbacks. If you can move back 3 spots, I think they would love to have Denver at number 9 trade up to number 4, and they just move back 5 spots and pick up several extra first-round picks.
Yeah, it's situations like that where I think teams can really improve their organization quickly, but also you can overthink it so much. How about this? How about get a really good player that's going to be there for years and years? If you can do that, it can be that simple. And that's where
or you can get 2. Or you can get 2. Like
right.
The Dolphins,
but that's when you get greedy.
Number 3.
But that's when you get greedy too. You can go over if you got a guy that you know is going to be a really good player, and then you think he's going to be around, and you get greedy and you try to add another guy in there. I think that's when because this is, I think, ultimately an exercise of pride, greed, humility, the whole thing in this NFL draft from an organization standpoint and what GMs. That's why I think it's always safer to build outside the draft and to trade back and do what the Patriots have done forever. Who's another good example of doing that recently?
Colts never pick in the first round.
Right.
They always go down. And conversely, Dave Gettleman has never traded down his entire career.
And so that's an urban myth that he won't trade back. And then I saw it on the ticker the other day, has actually never traded back ever in his entire career. No, apparently we need to explain to you what urban myth means, sir.
Yeah. So that's almost it's, I don't know, they're kind of warring ideas. You want to try and manipulate the board and trade back and do all these moves and then potentially move yourself out of blue chip players, or you kind of realize that the draft is a crapshoot and you want to just pick up as many picks as possible. That's what the Colts do. They always end the draft with 10 players, whereas Dave Gettleman just stays where he is because he thinks he has the best guy. He knows how to pick the best guy. So, there's just different ways of going about it. And I don't know if there's a right way or wrong way, but what the Dolphins did by moving from 3 to 12 and then trading back up to 6, so they move 3 spots back but have 2 extra picks to show for it, that's just kind of objectively great work.
They watched Kevin Costner, so they got it from the best draft day.
That movie I can't find anywhere to stream it, by the way. If anyone has a DVD, can you mail that to me so I can watch it before Thursday? It's not on any of the streaming platforms. I have all of them.
All part of Patrick's NFL draft preparation. We'll continue our draft talk with some Gamecock draft trivia coming up as we kick off the second half of the show. Next, you're listening to the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, we've got a way to help you with that Zoom call for work. You know when the mute button is on and they can't hear you, you could be listening to 107.5 The Game and they would have no idea.
That is awesome.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, a true
I think you had a 0 res there. All right.
Guess we'll find out in a minute.
Huh?
What's that?
I think you had a 0 res there.
Gotcha. My little private chat got erased when I got booted off.
Oh, sorry about that. Do you want to do 0? We can do it either at the end of this break or at the beginning of the next one, whichever floats your boat.
We'll do it at the end of this break then.
Fantastic. I'll relist the other stuff for the rest of the show.
I'm guessing there's only just one for me, right? Buford Lending. So pop that one in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got 810.
Done.
Just sometimes you prefer them for posting.
Oh. Sonny, what do you mean you're going through this? You have a family member playing in the NFL, but you're
well, no, he apparently has a connection. I can figure that out because he's talked about it. He has a connection with Brian Edwards, and so apparently Sonny does not like the Raiders, but he likes Brian Edwards.
Yeah,
you got to keep up with the personal lives of all of the live streamers. That's what I do. Keep up with everybody's personal lives.
Is Tonka Hemingway the younger brother of Jordan Hemingway then? Isn't it Jordan?
No.
Was it Junior Hemingway, right?
Junior Hemingway.
Apparently there was the Ken Burns Ernest Hemingway documentary that just came out. It was really good. I'm going to try and watch that soon.
But they are brothers there, Bill, or not?
I'm pretty sure they are brothers.
Well, you're either keeping up with the personal lives or you're not. What do you mean you're pretty sure?
No, I only keep up with the personal lives of our live streamers, not other football players.
Gotcha. I'll double check that.
I like to know what everybody's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it depends on how close the relationship is. You can just root for them to succeed. But, I mean, I would just become a fan of the team probably. Like if my brother played for, not the Eagles, but if he played for like the Giants, I'd probably just become a Giants fan. At least while he was there.
You couldn't handle your brother or a family member playing for the Eagles, huh?
No.
Okay. Reasonable.
They're just bad people. A couple of my Eagle fan friends are crossing their fingers that they don't get JC Horn.
1 minute.
Yeah, they are brothers, and he played for the Chiefs. It said in the past. I guess he's not in the league anymore. Let's see.
I don't know if this is just a me thing or if it's I haven't been drinking that coffee for wellness. I've been on a Kona coffee, but I don't feel like black coffee gives me the same amount of energy.
I think I don't know, tolerance.
If I'm making it weak, I don't.
Should be making it weak. Do you measure? I've never measured coffee in my life.
I mean, yes, I measure it, but I wouldn't say it's the most sophisticated version of measuring it.
Like, I just feel, what does that mean? I just fill up the filter basically.
I have two little. One is an actual spoon, and the other one is like a scoop, and they're completely different amounts of coffee that go into the. So it's kind of. I just kind of ballpark it, but I don't just pour it straight out of the bag into the into the filter. Yeah, I just black coffee.
So does this texter hate you, or is she kidding?
Do what?
Does this texter Paul hate you, or is he kidding? Hope nothing's wrong with Bill, but it sure is good not to hear him. I can't tell.
I don't know. He was.
Sounds like he was not happy with Tim on Friday for defending the fans.
He was the one who told us to dress professional.
Please dress professional for the live stream.
The early game continues.
All right, head back in.
Please dress professional.
All these guys are giggling, having a good time. Like,
Well, we're laughing at the last text to come in and just somebody who needs a hug this morning. Yeah, Paul needs a hug. Doesn't like me. Didn't like you last week. Didn't like how we
was telling us to dress professionally for the live stream.
oh, and Paul was also mad at people that are getting after it at the baseball stadium. He said that they hate him. What about you take your 3 kids and sit in the middle of that crowd and then let me know if you still enjoy your kids being there and all the dirty language. That's where Paul's coming from.
This is why we go back and read the text.
Read. Yeah, you gotta consider the source. That's the part about social media that you don't. Well, I guess you can to a certain degree, right? But the anonymous accounts, that's where it could probably bug you more than if you go back and you read and get you can understand that. Okay,
No.
Patrick, you were going into some Gamecock football NFL draft trivia earlier, and it's been a good time. Stoney Woodson's names come up, Javon Meredith, and this is not that. I don't know. I guess it depends how you look at it. It's not that long ago for us, Bill. To me, I think of these guys as some of the more recent guys that have gone on to the NFL draft, but it has been basically about a decade for those names that I threw out there. What do you make, Patrick, of the idea that this is going to tie the second most NFL draft picks in a 2-year span, assuming the 5 prospects out there that seem to be in line to get drafted right now for Carolina? And when I say 5, we're talking 3 defensive side of the ball, 2 in the secondary, and J.C. Horn leading the way up to maybe number 10 overall. 10 to 25 range overall is where we're thinking he's going to go. Israel Mukuamu, his fellow corner, expected to go much later in the draft, but expected to be drafted. Then you got Ernest Jones, who's anywhere from a second-round draft pick, according to Mel Kiper Jr., down to probably a 6th or 7th round draft pick on some boards. I've seen him rated maybe the 15th best linebacker, 20th best, somewhere in there.
Right, yeah.
10th through 20th, it depends on where you go. He's all over the board. It's nuts. You got Shi Smith as a really, really productive wide receiver. And again, I think that is a lot like being a corner at Carolina. If you are the number 1 receiver at South Carolina, you're going to have an NFL career more times than not.
Yeah.
And who am I not thinking on the offensive line? Sedarius Hutcherson is number 5. So those are the 5 prospects. And you add that to, it was 4 guys last year?
4 guys last year. Kinlaw, Edwards, Wanham, Brunson.
So you add that together. That doesn't even count Joseph Charlton, who's gone on to obviously find a place with the Carolina Panthers. Doesn't count. I think there was another undrafted with Rico Dowdle. Did you not do him? No.
He was drafted, yeah, but
roster spot with the Dallas Cowboys. Not even counting guys who have found jobs in the NFL that didn't get drafted last year, but just from the draft perspective, 9 guys in 2 years would tie the second best run, or would be the second best 2-year run in South Carolina history in the NFL draft. And this is what we talked about, trying to put this Will Muschamp era in proper perspective, earlier today, I saw a text from someone, or it might have been yesterday, talking about the expectations for Shane Beamer in next year. And Bill, something you said yesterday kind of stuck with me as I was thinking about the show yesterday. And you know how some comments just stick with you randomly. And you mentioned 7 or 8 wins next year for Shane Beamer at some point, just going through the schedule like we were yesterday and expectations and the whole thing. And this texter was talking about 4 and 8 would be a success from his perspective after a 2 and 8 season in the whole deal. From a talent standpoint, where is the South Carolina program right now is what you have to evaluate moving forward after 9 NFL draft picks in the last couple of years, but clearly that didn't translate to a bunch of team success with 16 combined losses in the last couple of years as well. Where are you at on that?
I think the talent is, I'm going to say this and then we'll get a flood of text messages that think that I'm trying to say that this is a 10-win team, but I think it is better than a 4-win team. I think a realistic expectation, if you're sitting there thinking South Carolina, the best they could do is 4 and 8, man, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think the talent is better, is good enough to get to 6 or 7 wins. When you compare it with Kentucky and with Missouri and with Tennessee, who are the 3 games that are kind of the swing games. You probably have to go 2 and 1 in those games, given that I think the 3 of the non-conference games, Eastern Illinois, Troy, and East Carolina, and Vanderbilt, not a non-conference game, but those 4 should be definite wins. And then you've got what I would label as 3 swing games. There is talent on that football team. Now, again, is it talent that lines up with Georgia and Texas A&M and Clemson? No, it's not. So we're not going to try and pretend that. But when you talk about winning football games next year, you've got some players. And I know people, for whatever reason, continue to be very down on Luke Doty right now. You know, he does need to continue to develop. I'll be interested to see what he looks like in that offense when we get to the regular season and how Marcus Satterfield builds game plans around him to try and take advantage of what he's doing best. When you get a few extra guys back, I think the offense will be a little bit better. And then defensively, have they lived up to maybe the recruiting rankings? No, not even close. I mean, you're talking about losing a few defensive players here that were part of a defensive unit that couldn't seem to stop anybody. But maybe new coaches, new voices, new leadership is what this group needed. And I think that's the interesting part when you look at the defensive line and you see the guys that are there and you look at who recruited them and you look at who South Carolina had to beat out to land them. I don't think they're bad players. This shouldn't be a 4 and 8 team. And I'm of the opinion, I mean, I think it's a better team. This was an interesting question that somebody, I guess, asked me yesterday after the spring game and said, based on what you saw, is this a better team than Will Muschamp's first team? Because Muschamp got to a bowl, 6-6, went and lost to South Florida in the Birmingham Bowl. And as I kind of went through the roster, my answer is yes. I think it is. You need guys. There are question marks. There's no doubt about that. And the secondary is the most troubling spot on the team. But I do think that you look at running back, you look at defensive line, and those 2 positions stand out instantly as positions that you've got some pretty good talent, and you should be able to do something. There's a lot of people at the wide receiver position. Some of them were kind of highly thought of. You got a kid who didn't play on Saturday, and Amarion Brown, who has done stuff and has been productive at a Power 5 level. So I'm of the opinion, I'm not trying to tell anybody that this is an 8 or 9 win team, but I don't think it's unrealistic to expect 6 or 7 wins this coming year because, again, Missouri maybe has been better coaches or they've outcoached Will Muschamp. A lot of people have outcoached Will Muschamp, but I think it's been more on coaching than it's been on talent.
Well, I'm with you that the Missouri game obviously very competitive last year. But those other 2 games you mentioned, that will be the swing games you feel like for Carolina and almost always defines where they are in the SEC East with Tennessee and Kentucky. Those games, I guess the Tennessee game was close last year, but the Kentucky game was not. And the Tennessee game from the year before was not close. So I can understand how people would go the other way. Chris is on the optimistic side about this in a big way, says, I've been saying 6-1 by Texas A&M, and people call me crazy. We got an anonymous texter hits us up and says, if 5-2 by Texas A&M. Take it to the bank. Interesting how some people look at this. Patrick, I want you to get one interesting Gamecock NFL question for our next segment. Can you do that one?
What do you mean? What kind of question?
An interesting one. As interesting as you can make it from
Just
NFL draft analyst perspective about as it pertains to the Gamecocks. See if you can do that, and please put your pointer away from your eye on your face. That is freaking me out in a very bad way. I mean, one slip, man. What are you doing over there? Just messing with you. He actually did it. I'm impressed.
That would get some. That could possibly get some subscribers if there was an injury on the live stream.
Oh, not cool. Not a cool way to do that. That's not what we're looking for here. This is all right, Patrick. You think you have a Gamecock draft question for us coming back?
Yeah. How well do you guys know history like before you were alive?
I was watching World War II documentaries again last night. Does that count?
Gamecock football history.
Oh. I feel like I can.
As far as I'm concerned, this game started in like 1998, 1999.
The old, I don't even know what generation. I was going to say millennial. You're way past that. The 25-year-old version of things. No, I think we've said that exact same thing here on the show. We got Gamecock Draft Trivia question coming up for you when we come back as we have NFL Draft Week and everything that means. Misinformation Central is what it means to me. It's the early game here on 107.5.
Oh, CRM on the text line. That's actually not really something for the show. I did decide last night that the next book I'm going to read is either going to be on George Patton or Dwight Eisenhower. I think those are two good personalities to read about. I'm kind of leaning toward reading Patton first.
My 6-year-old tells me from his weird facts about presidents book that he got at the library yesterday that Dwight D. Eisenhower was the president most likely to hit a hole-in-one.
Okay.
There's that for you.
All right. Yeah, I was looking at books last night. I almost ordered one. I like Patton. General Patton's Principles for Life and Leadership.
Well, have you seen the movie? You might want to go to the movie there.
Go watch the movie first?
Just Patton. I think it's a classic. I tried to watch it one time. I couldn't do it.
I don't know if I'll be able to watch the movie. I think we know my history with movies. But he was... No, I'll read books. The one that I'm reading right now is the Tillman Fertitta book.
What Gamecock teams had 3 or more first-round picks? Well, that's kind of dumb, right? Because they not in the same draft.
Yeah.
But so you can go 2011. I think probably how many first that team? County, Ingram, Gilmore.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
I had way too much of a good time on Saturday. I just realized I bought a candle from Kohl's.
I guess. Potentially Dante Robinson and Jonathan Joseph play together. Because 4, 5, and 6, they had first round picks 3 years in a row.
I thought Dante. Yeah,
Joseph just played.
Yeah, they would have been on the same team. So Robinson was 2004, Williamson was 2005, Joseph was 2006. So that's
played. Joseph.
He played what?
Just 1 year, I think, Carolina.
Yeah, Joseph was a junior college player that came in and played 1 year and then was gone.
Well, the 79 team had Rick Sanford, Willie Scott, and George Rogers probably.
Robert Brooks wasn't a first-round pick, was he?
No, he was a second rounder.
Sterling Sharp was, correct?
Yep.
Correct.
But I don't think any of those other guys, Harold Green or you think John Abraham was a first-round pick, correct?
Yep.
But I don't think any Andre Goodman or Sheldon Brown, I don't think those guys were.
So did we get the answer? Because I feel like Patrick may have just given it with the 79 team.
Well, how many teams? I think the answer is 2, at least,
2
right?
probably. If
79 and 2011?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you if no, the George Rogers, yeah, they did. Yeah, that would be the answer.
George Rogers was number 1, and Willie Scott and then Sanford. And 2011 had 3 first rounders?
No.
The 2011 team, yes.
Yeah.
What Gamecock team? That's why it's a weird question, right?
Well, no, I get it. The 2012 draft, but the 2011 team?
No.
Yeah.
It's not even the same draft. It's just saying first round picks. What team had the first round picks on it?
Oh, I thought okay. I thought it was.
I don't think it's happened in one draft, has it, Patrick?
For South Carolina?
Yeah.
No, the only time they had 2 first rounders in the same draft was Gilmore and Ingram.
Right.
The way I read the question, I thought he meant that there was a team that then the next year had 3 first rounders. I didn't. I read that.
No.
Yeah, the most is 2 in 1 year. And it's only happened once. No, 81, Willie Scott and George Rogers were both first-round picks.
Oh, man, what a bummer, Todd, that happened. You couldn't do the honeymoon at the home opener in Vegas. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, it would have been.
And
Also,
back
a pretty good wife if y'all were going to Vegas for your honeymoon and a football game. A lot better than that bride from the Nashville draft.
The anti-Nashville draft, bride. Or did
Hey, guys are up.
All right, Patrick, your big shot here. Combining your worlds of being a Gamecock grad and a self-proclaimed NFL draft analyst. What is your NFL draft Gamecock trivia question this morning?
South Carolina's had a lot of they've had 14 first-round picks. A lot of them have been in multiple positions, but they've only had 1 offensive lineman drafted in the first round. Who was that?
Ooh, that's a good one. 1 offensive lineman in the history of the University of South Carolina taken in the first round. Who was it? Yeah, the first one that pops in my mind, Bill, is a guy we've had on the show before, but I don't think he was a first-round pick now that I'm going back and over-analyzing in my head, and Travell Wharton.
Nope.
Patrick shaking his head. What was he a second or third rounder? You got it in front of you?
Wharton?
Mm-hmm.
He was a third rounder, 94 overall.
Okay, interesting.
You asked before we went to break if
what our Jeopardy thing, right?
What our knowledge is pre being born. Is this guy pre 1982 or post 1982?
No.
Yeah, I think Chris has actually got it right on the YouTube live chat. Now that I think about it, it wasn't AJ Cann taken in the first round. He was a second rounder.
He was a third rounder.
We're seeing how good Alex Trebek was at his job instead of just saying nope. You could just follow that up with some information. So wasn't AJ Cann. Chris also suggested Nashawn Goddard. He did not get selected that high. And it wasn't Brandon Shell. Chris H. says.
I wasn't alive. You guys were alive.
Okay, so now we're backing it up to
80s or 90s, early 90s or 80s. Early 90s? Wow.
Oh, I think I know who it is. Went and played for the Cardinals. Was he drafted?
Let me help
Was he drafted by the Cardinals? Ernest.
Yes.
Ernest.
Guy?
Yes.
Ernest Dye.
There you go.
This is how we do the show here. Singularly, we're dummies. But if we can put all our heads together, we can figure out one Gamecock NFL
Brain
draft.
trust. 15.
Trivia question. Nice job, Patrick. That was a good one. If we play that again in hour number 3, are we done?
Yeah, I like it. Keep it going. Keep the fun going.
All right. Hour 3, coming up. Greg, beautiful. The grinder.
I remembered that. I had an Ernest Dye football card. That's how I remembered. I knew he was drafted by the Cardinals.
He has a.
Impressive.
Oh my. Do you know anything about him?
Ernest Dye?
Yeah.
No, I know nothing about him.
On his Wikipedia, it says he played 6 years, but in 1999 he was in a car crash that cost him the use of his right arm, and that ended his career.
Let's see, we had 3 guys on the text line who knew it, or 2 guys and Jody. I don't know. Jody might not be. Yeah. And then the texter that asked about what Gamecock teams had 3 or more first-round picks, 1979 is what he followed up with.
Oh, he answered it good. Well, that's not the only one.
Lewis from New York hits me up and says that today, 40 years ago, today was the day George Rogers was drafted first. 40 years ago today. We've mentioned him being drafted first. We just didn't mention, I think, that it happened 40 years ago today.
Well, we can't steal Tommy Moody's thunder. Oh.
It's true. That should have been the old-timey clip of the day.
Do you know who went number 2?
Oh, no, I have no clue.
Wait a second. No, don't ruin it. So we're talking about 40 years ago today, 1981, number 2 pick. Arguably, what we were going with that, Patrick?
The greatest football player of all time.
I'm sorry, did you say the greatest football player of all time?
Yeah.
Did he play for the Redskins or something?
No.
Joe Montana.
Wasn't Elway, was it?
Montana.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Chris P's got to have that one, huh?
Yep.
Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, really?
Nice work, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who the best football player of all time is, but everyone who saw Lawrence Taylor play says he's as good of a player as they've seen. So I'll take it. Joe Theismann would agree.
Let's see, when I'm telling my kids about greatest players of all time, I go Barry Sanders up there, Tom Brady, obviously, Jerry Rice. On the defensive side, they know Reggie White.
Yeah.
And I have mentioned Lawrence Taylor. I think I've mentioned Mike Singletary. And I guess I think they know Ray Lewis as well.
With the Julio thing, if his time in Atlanta's over, and his career might be winding down because he's been really banged up, I was trying to decide if he was better than Calvin Johnson in my lifetime.
Gotcha. Also, Larry Fitzgerald comes up because I think when you ask the smart speaker who the best wide receiver is, that's the answer from a statistical category.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
So
I know that Calvin Johnson,
players of all time.
Calvin Johnson, when he was at his best, was stupid how people tried to do that.
Yeah, it just depends how you want to look at that, right? The most dynamic or the best over a long period of time. I guess you got to bring up like Emmett Smith or Peyton if you're talking about longevity.
Julio, I kind of think of as the LeBron, like it's almost like LeBron in basketball, where Giannis will be the MVP one year, or whoever will be really good, but at the end of the day, we all still know LeBron is the best basketball player in the world.
Yeah, except he's got championships attached to him as opposed to a lot of.
Yeah, but Julio's just a wide receiver. Can't do it all. But like Michael Thomas can catch 120 balls, and Tyreek Hill can do whatever, and Devontae Adams can have a huge year, but we all still know that Julio's the best.
Julio get traded? Will he get traded?
He might, yeah.
Looks like it.
Is this where the Falcons just decide to blow it up and start over?
I mean, they have no money. So it might be. They can't get rid of Matt Ryan this year. It'll bankrupt them.
So what do you guys prefer? 1075 Drinkcast or 1075 The Bar, the virtual bar for Thursday night?
I think the virtual bar just rolls out better.
Wonder if I can move downstairs.
That'd be a good way to send me into the weekend. What time does it start? 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to get back into working out at some point this week. I think I'm finally over that viral infection. I wanted to go yesterday. I was tired. Tell you what, the Brewers clobbered the Marlins last night. I didn't realize the Brewers had that guy Corbin Burns throwing who'd been striking out people left and right and was looking dominant, and he just got blitzed.
Trevor Bauer, we haven't touched on, but like maybe the best quote I've ever seen or the best take on Tatis making fun of him of all time.
Yeah.
What did he say? I thought I saw something, but I didn't think it was that funny or.
So he said he didn't see it the first time Tatis and the Padres are kind of making fun of him. He saw it the second time after the home run, but he earned it. He got me. In the years past, guys would throw at him, and he thinks that's the wrong approach. When he got somebody else, he gave him a little sword thrust or something, and then that guy got him later in the game and gave it right back to him, and they know each other, and it's what it is. Having fun playing baseball.
And heading back in.
Good for you, Hope. Good luck with that. Yeah, hopefully no side effects.
NFL draft week continues. The stories in my mind get absolutely ridiculous, and you got to separate fact from fiction unlike any other week in sports. Julio Jones, is he going to get traded, or are the Falcons just doing something? Are they putting something out there where they know they can achieve whatever their desired goal is by putting this news out there? This is the way that I have to overanalyze every single story, especially with a headline like the San Francisco 49ers like 5 quarterbacks as a fit with the number 3 overall pick. And the next headline is Falcons would listen to offers for Julio, says their general manager. These press conferences this week specifically are the most ridiculous thing in sports, I think, because of information or information. I don't. What do you got? Yeah, close second. I don't even know.
I don't think there is a close second. This never happens in the NBA. The NBA is pretty cut and dry. All right, but I want to ask you guys this because this is interesting. Staying on the 49ers topic with the quarterbacks. Let's go big picture. Patrick, You can set the table for us here to kind of give Tim and I the guesses as to who we'll take. Where do you think the quarterbacks go in the first round? We know Lawrence is one. You're pretty confident the Big Carrot mock draft has Lawrence at 1, Zach Wilson at 2, correct?
Yeah, I would all but guarantee both of those.
That's everybody
Wilson to the
except
Jets.
my 6-year-old's mock draft, who's convinced Devontae Smith's going number 1 because he won the Heisman Trophy.
Okay. All right. So, but you got Lawrence to the Jags, Zach Wilson to the Jets. Who do you have? Do you have the 49ers taking a quarterback, and if so, who?
They're definitely taking a quarterback. I want to believe that it'll be Justin Fields, even though all the information is pointing to Mac Jones or Trey Lance. I'm just going to say Justin Fields because it makes the most sense, and I want to think logically.
So you've got Fields to the 49ers. Let's go with that. Where do you have Lance going? Where do you think he goes?
Where do I think he goes, or where should he go? I think the Broncos should trade up to number 4 and take him at 4.
Okay, let's just say he goes to number 4 at the Broncos. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, given the teams that they're going to, not who's the better player, who has the better career. Because, see, we'd all take Trevor Lawrence number 1, but Lawrence is going to Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, who we don't know how Urban Meyer is going to do in the NFL or what the Jaguars are going to really look like.
Yeah, I don't know who. I'll guarantee that the best career will be whoever goes number 3.
To the 49ers? That's what you're –
Doesn't he have to be a specific guy? So
yeah,
you're
the
going
best quarterback situation in the NFL is Kyle Shanahan's quarterback.
That's why I'm asking that because –
Bill, let's hear Kyle Shanahan in this epic comment yesterday. He was asked whether his current starting quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, will be on the 49ers roster come Sunday.
You know what I hear the first thing that I hear an angry wife who now can't plan anything 2 weeks out because Kyle Shanahan's just like, I don't know if we're going to be around to take that trip. I don't know if we can go anywhere. We might not be around. I don't know why we're planning it. Let's just plan it the day of. And if we hop on a plane, we can go somewhere because we might not be around. We can't think that far in advance right now.
This is when, at a press conference, there should be a moderator who just hits a siren button and be like, unacceptable, just goes off in the room. Nope, let's try it again. Redo. Do-over button. Something. That is just amazing. But, Patrick, that has absolutely no bearing, or maybe it has the opposite bearing on what you're saying, in that when it comes to real football stuff, none of this ridiculous draft press conference mess. Kyle Shanahan, great track record, solid weapons there in San Francisco, including former Deebo Samuel, and you feel like that's what is most important for any of these young quarterbacks, is to be put in that situation to succeed, correct?
Yeah, I think situation's everything for a young quarterback.
What about, okay, let's look at some recent history, because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they trade up for him, and they jump over Deshaun Watson in that draft from a few years ago. It was Mitch Trubisky taken so early by the Bears in that same draft. But I think this is a great example. Watson's had tremendous success in the NFL. Now he's had varying weapons. Luke Hopkins, for as long as he did, was a big help for sure. But then proved this past season that he doesn't necessarily need him to put up big numbers. Maybe he needs him to win games and not put up big numbers. Trubisky with the Bears, obviously not working out. And then you had Mahomes there. So is it your take there as well that whichever of those three guys would have gone to the Chiefs would have done the best, or would have Mahomes had success with the Bears?
I would say I do think Mahomes. I think Mahomes is probably that special. I would say there's obviously, I can say it with certainty because there's no way that it could ever be proven, that Deshaun Watson, if he was drafted by the Chiefs, he would have won a Super Bowl by now too. Like, I would be so confident that would have happened because Andy Reid is just that smart of a play caller and everything. I don't think Trubisky would have forced their hand to trade Alex Smith though, so that could potentially change things.
And that's part of the reason I asked you guys about who has the best career, not who's the better player. Because do we think we're celebrating Tom Brady the way we do today if he gets drafted by the Raiders back in the early 2000s?
No chance. And are we celebrating the same way if he was taken by the Patriots in the first round that year? I don't know.
No. That would be different. No, that would be.
Does the 199 chip mean that much to him? Like if he was taken in the first round that year, everything would have been different. Maybe.
Like I think because I do think that that's a part of it. And you look at certain franchises. I mean, that's why I think kind of joked early on when it looked like the New York Jets may be able to go defeated and get that number 1 pick, and that's where Trevor Lawrence would end up going. And you're like, man, well, that's awesome. You're going to make a lot of money, and you're going to be in a big market. But boy, oh boy, are you going to an awful franchise that right now doesn't know how to run that. They don't know how, I think, to take care of a young quarterback. And Jacksonville, I think, is interesting because, again, the coaching situation, Shad Khan, the owner, seems very invested in this. I think yesterday or maybe over the weekend he had a comment that this will define the Jaguars this pick will define the Jaguars for the rest of his ownership. So you get these things here, but it is one of those situations where I'm a believer in the franchise that drafts you is more important than the talent you bring to the franchise. And I'm with you. Like if Deshaun Watson goes to the Bears, nothing against the Bears, I'm not trying to pick on you on this, but just would you say the same thing? If the Bears had drafted Deshaun Watson, does he have a Super Bowl or even a Super Bowl appearance right now?
Definitely.
The Bears have a good team and have for a couple of years. They have a good roster overall. It's just, yeah. They have a long way to go. That's the problem. I mean, that's why people are talking about that in Washington too. Like, if everyone's going to be hoping that the 49ers take probably Mac Jones because he's probably the least sought after outside of San Francisco. And then the hope will be that Atlanta takes Kyle Pitts and everyone just pushes all the quarterbacks down. So I think there's a very good chance that all the quarterbacks will be gone by 9, though. Like 5 quarterbacks in the first 9 picks won't surprise me one bit, which would be insane, but very possible.
Tim, we're going to do Thursday night. We're going to do the live stream, and Patrick will be on. We're gonna live stream, and we're gonna talk about the draft as it's happening. I feel like Patrick needs one of those like red siren buttons that when a pick is made that throws him off, he just hits it and goes, "Whoa, everybody! It just got real." This is where it got exhilarating. What was the word you used a few weeks ago?
Electric.
Yeah, this is like he hits the button and we just see the siren spinning. He goes, "It's electric now. Now it's officially drafted." Like if I can see that if they take Mac Jones at 3,
it doesn't matter who they take. It's going to be electric. The draft starts at 3, and no matter what happens, it's going to be exciting. I won't be pumped if it's Mac Jones, but that will definitely shape the rest of the first round.
So this year, to me, the quarterback at the top, the question is, Trevor Lawrence as a prospect is thought of as best quarterback prospects ever, right? Patrick, what do you say? He's thought of as behind Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, and John Elway. Is that the deal? Best since those guys?
Yeah, just in that tier 1. Yeah.
And out of those guys, it was only Andrew Luck who didn't end up winning a Super Bowl, right? And his career is going to go down. He, as an anomaly, had success in the NFL, clearly a franchise guy, just not Elway or Peyton Manning.
And retired young.
Right. And Trevor Lawrence is, because sometimes quarterbacks or players are just good enough to bring an organization with them. It's very rare with number 1 draft picks, but it can happen. We've seen it happen, but we haven't quite seen it happen like this, right? With a new head coach in the NFL, with a guy with the national championships on his resume who just hadn't been an NFL guy. And then I still think of Jacksonville as one of the bottom 5 organizations in the NFL in their history. I mean, I got it, the AFC Championship a few years ago. Never forget Perry Orth rolling into our studios, one of the few Jaguar fans I ever knew existed, being from Florida. And just so pumped about where the Jaguars were. And then just like that, seemingly, right back to being the Jacksonville Jaguars and showing you how difficult it can be to sustain success in the NFL. But to me, that's the most interesting part. And that's not a draft question, right? I mean, there's no draft intrigue around where Trevor Lawrence is going to go. This is an NFL question. This is, can he be the guy that Jacksonville needs him to be? Now, the rest of it, why does every organization think they're going to figure it out? How have quarterbacks gotten so overvalued in the NFL draft? Because I think your reminder yesterday of what the 99 draft was. Tim Couch number 1, Donovan McNabb number 2, and then Akili Smith number 3. I feel like that is more the rule of the NFL draft and quarterbacks in the first round than it is the exception.
It's just so important, though. I mean, if you look at 2018, you had 5 first-round picks, just like we're going to have this year. 3 hits, I would say, 1 bust and 1 unknown in Josh Allen, mega hit, which is the comparison for Trey Lance. He was inaccurate, super athletic, giant arm, everything that people are saying about Trey Lance, good runner. So Josh Allen is the Trey Lance effect is probably coming from the Josh Allen, or I guess the Josh Allen effect is now rubbing off on Trey Lance. Baker Mayfield, I would say hit. He's going to probably get extended. And then Lamar Jackson, super hit, MVP. And then Josh Rosen, miss, complete whiff. And Sam Darnold was the unknown. But he was just traded and is getting a fresh start under one of the up-and-coming offensive minds in the game. And it seems like the Panthers believe in him, although some of the buzz now is that if there's a QB at 8, the Panthers would just go ahead and take him too, and that would be wild. That will be a jaw-dropping moment in the first round if the Panthers take a quarterback.
He hits the button. The red light.
I would hit the button.
Electric.
Yeah, I would hit the button.
Electric. 803-404-6100. If you guys would like to chime in on the program, you can call or text. Anonymous Exter just asked, do the Panthers still take a quarterback? Eric says, Patrick, what do the Panthers do with Darnold? So what would – and this goes down to how different people do it, right? You were talking about, do I think this is what's going to happen, or this is what I think should happen, right? You're either projecting for what you think teams will do, or you're saying, like the old Mel Kiper, this is the best available guy out there. This is how I evaluated the thing. I don't know what these teams are doing. They're dumb. So how are you going to approach this, Patrick?
I wouldn't have traded for Sam Darnold in the first place before the draft. I mean, make the Jets draft Zach Wilson and then clearly admit that they need to trade Sam Darnold. But at this point, I would just stay there and I'd probably take like Rashawn Slater, who's just guaranteed to be a starting offensive lineman for you day one. I don't know. It's strange because when they traded for him, it was like Panthers traded for Sam Darnold. They're going to pick up his 5th-year option. It was like almost one news story. But then yesterday, they still haven't picked up the option. And Scott Fitter, the GM, was playing coy like, yeah, we have a plan in place. And they're like, well, what's your plan? Are you going to option him? We feel very confident about our plan that we have in place. It's like, okay, well, what the heck is going on? And it seems like Tepper really wants and has made it very clear, I want a franchise quarterback. And they'll basically do whatever it takes. So to the initial question about the obsession with first-round quarterbacks, the quarterback position is just so important that with the hit rates being what they are already in the first round and the impact that it can have, if you don't have a guy, it's not bad strategy to just keep drafting until you get your guy and just be relentless in the pursuit of that franchise quarterback. Because
nothing boosts you to a contending team every single year like a quarterback.
Yeah, on the flip side of that, though, I feel like there's nothing more organizational crushing than taking a guy in the first round and he doesn't turn out to be the guy at all.
Yeah. Well, the Jaguars are a perfect example because that AFC Championship team was outstanding. Like, they were good at 21 of 22 positions, basically, on the football field, and the one that they were not good was Blake Bortles at quarterback. And the best team they've ever had was dismantled and because of inefficiency at the quarterback
just
position.
disintegrated kind of before our eyes. Wanted to go out to the Love Chevy phone lines now. KC up with us here in hour number 3 at 803-404-6100, talking NFL draft. Morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. I still think the Panthers gonna take a quarterback. Either it's Trey Lance or the quarterback out of Ohio State. I think Darnold was more of a guy that they could get in and go ahead and play right away while they groom that rookie. That's why I think it may be Trey Lance because he missed out on a year playing college football. But I like to say whoever gets Shi Smith the way he played in the Senior Bowl, they're gonna get a good player that's ready to compete at the next level, and that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Casey. Appreciate the phone call there. And this echoes another comment in from Gator, I guess, on the YouTube live stream. Panthers are smart. Darnold is a bridge quarterback for a year until the guy they picked this year sits for a year. Don't they already have? They got Teddy Bridgewater. He's the ultimate bridge guy, right?
Yeah. Also, Justin Fields is 22. Sam Darnold's 23. It's not like Sam Darnold is here. He's the guy, the wily old veteran that's going to hold it down while the young guy gets ready.
You already had that guy. That was already your guy. B from Columbia says the Panthers haven't drafted a starting left tackle in a long time. If the Oregon tackle is there, they really need to thank the draft gods and take him. Is that a possibility that Penei Sewell will drop to number 8? By the way, it's not, is it, Patrick?
It is if 5 quarterbacks go in the first 7 picks. If Detroit's open for business and gets traded up to number 7, I think. If I had said the 3 picks that I'm most confident in now, I would obviously say Lawrence and Wilson. After that, I really think that the Bengals are going to take Jamar Chase instead of Penei Sewell. So it is possible.
Interesting. B from Columbia also says about Gamecock football, will all the team's injuries carry over to the fall? Should we be concerned? Say no. And yeah, it depends how you want to look at it. Obviously, some injury concerns. I think it's more of a roster depth concern as some injuries pertain, but then some areas where you're just then no matter what the health is looking at that position, defensive backs specifically, I'm looking at there. 803-404-6100 again if you would like to weigh in. Looks like Bill's starting to fight the sun there in the sunroom now. You got the
I'm watching. There's a guy fishing. I mean, right here in front of me, and he fishes where I fish, and I was going to be really, really, really unhappy if he started catching something. I caught a couple little small brim yesterday. I mean, they weren't. I threw them all back, but so I'm watching this guy, and I'm thinking if he catches like a 2 or 3 pound bass or something, I'm not going to be happy at all. Or if he catches a good sized brim or shell cracker, I will also be very unhappy for the next 35 minutes. So he just caught a little tiny one, which made me feel better. So yeah, I'm listening. I'm also observing out here. But you had just said something that I was sitting there thinking about. It was the Jamar Chase thing with the Bengals. So yeah, I got a lot going on over here.
All right, you have to promise us, since you brought that into the show, that if he does catch a good sized fish, there has to be a live conversation had with him on the air. Fair? You're mobile. You can make it happen.
I can do that.
All right. Thank you.
We can bring him in the house. He can dock the boat. Come on in.
No, you just swim out to him. That's all you got to do. 803-404-6100, the number again to get in on the program. You can find Bill at Will Gunter with 1L on Twitter. Patrick is at _Patrick Perrette, at Jen Jensen Morse, where you can find Jen, and I'm at Tim Hill 1075 on Twitter, where we're up and rolling on the video stream, the station handle at 1075 The Game, YouTube and Facebook Live as well. That video stream sponsored by Buford Lending. It's the early game here on 1075 The Game.
1075 The Game. The game is on the air, online, on.
Speaking of Buford Lending, let me tell you a little bit more about them. Benji Getzi is who is running Buford Lending. He's a mortgage broker and has been. He and his team, 25 years of experience in the market, the lending market, I should say, which is just on fire recently. If you're looking into maybe refinancing, or you're like me, your family's growing, you're looking into your options about maybe upsizing the house, give Benji a call. I did this the other day. Actually, hit him up, 843-524-2404. And that's all Benji asks of you, right? He understands. You've probably worked with some other people in the lending business before. You got relationships. Definitely honor those and give those guys a call as well. But Benji understands and is confident that because of all of his experience in the lending industry, because of being a broker with he and his team for 25 years, he thinks he can find you the best deal out there. And he's just asking that you give him a call, have a conversation. I also went on the website, filled out all the information. Doesn't take very long at all to get a number about what the best deal that Benji can get you and your family moving forward. And I was amazed at those numbers, by the way. You're talking 3% right now is a number out there in the market. And the number that I saw even better than that. So this is what I know that Benji Getsy can do for me, and I know he can do it for you as well. Give him a call. Buford Lending, 843-524-2404.
Yeah, I think Braden Davis commits Friday at 6 on Instagram Live. And Chris, if Bengals take Chase and they aren't good, does Zach Taylor get fired for Joe Brady? Yes. I think if the Bengals aren't good, Zach Taylor is definitely getting fired, and Joe Brady will for sure be their first call. I don't think it matters about Chase or whoever they pick, but yeah.
Yes, Steven's not the only one going in on the Jaguars. Unless he texted it in as well, but I think that was Rich.
Yeah, what? I don't know. That's how I say it. I'm not.
Najee and Travis, yeah, the running backs. Where you got them going?
People think that. I think maybe one will get drafted in the first round. Maybe both. I don't know. Like, Najee Harris just feels like he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I think it'll be a terrible decision for them, but that just seems like what it's going to be. ETN. The other team that might draft a running back is the Dolphins, because since they have 2 first-round picks, I can definitely see them drafting ETN there. Apparently, they really want Jalen Waddle, so if they drafted Jalen Waddle and Travis ETN and just said, like, we're getting fast this draft, I wouldn't hate that. Yeah, Phil, you saw the same. Brandon Davis was Friday, right?
Yep, I just saw it on Gamecock Central. You were right. Gamecock Central's got his tweet there. I guess it's Braden Davis _5 if you're one of those people. But 5 is just at _Braden Davis. He's the guy from Delaware. This Friday, 6 o'clock, Instagram Live. 6'5", 195, and number 14 pro-style quarterback in the country with offers from West Virginia, NC State, Georgia Tech, Duke, Stanford, and Cincinnati. Be quite the Delaware pipeline if that continues, huh?
Well, and then they got his teammate, which is a defensive lineman that just visited this weekend that actually looks pretty good, 6'5", 260 pounds. I can't – something weird name. I'd have to go back and look at it phonetically to figure out how to say it. But, yeah, he I think 24/7 Sports has him. He's a dual-threat quarterback. You said a pro-style quarterback. I don't know who's got him listed as a pro-style. I know he was at Elite 11 camp over the weekend. Had a pretty good weekend.
You're 6'5", 195, and you're a dual threat. You're going to take some hits.
Yeah.
Looks like a skinny dude.
I think Tua was listed as a dual threat too, right?
Who?
Tua? I'm pretty sure he was. He's not.
I'm sure. I feel like most of them. I feel like to be listed as a pocket passer, you have to be really slow.
Yeah, in high school. And nobody's that unathletic in high school. Like, they get progressively more unathletic as they get older. Even complete statues in the NFL, you can watch college highlights and they run around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Yeah, you have to be very slow.
Steven coming in aggressive this morning.
Yeah. It's also not spelled War and Peace with a U, so I don't.
UAR?
Yeah, UAR and Peace. Never read that one. You spelled advice wrong.
Gotcha.
Advice. My advice to Steven is spell advice right.
Strong. What were you saying, Jen? We didn't hear you.
No, I was just saying, is it when you're talking about spelling or whatever, is it bad if I indirectly correct my mother-in-law's grammar in a text thread? Because she said there was two, and I said, there were two? Really?
Passively.
Drives me to drink, man. I can't stand it.
All right. Steven's got a sense of humor about it.
There you go.
Somebody texted in about my saying Jaguar too, but I'm not gonna stop saying it.
That boy. That's how I feel about everything.
Hope's having fun with you.
I guess it's a northern thing. Might be. Jaguar, I don't like the way it sounds.
I don't like the way my mouth sounds.
Yeah.
All right, you gonna answer Chad there, or you got Horn and Mukwamo?
I'm gonna say Horn's going 10 to the Cowboys now.
Wow.
I'm gonna try and speak it into existence. Mukwamo, he can go anywhere.
What would that? Cowboys are 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't hate the Cowboys using one of their real late picks on Mukwamo either, because they like long corners that press.
Y'all think Georgia puts out some kind of weird graphic on Twitter that Will Muschamp coach J.C. Horn and gets credit for him?
Maybe, but Georgia might have 2 corners taken in the first round too.
We're heading back in.
Yeah.
So technically, he's coached all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Georgia's gonna have 5 defenders drafted, bro. Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Guess right.
Have you ever wanted to grill Bill? Yesterday it was Patrick B. with probably some inappropriate hypothetical scenarios with the Porta Johns over at the Fairgrounds outside of Williams Brice Stadium. But he did get a $50 IGA gift card because he had some interesting scenarios about Bill's hypothetical tailgate in the 2021 season. And the South Carolina Pork Board is member farmer IGA Food Stores and Camp Chef, all sponsoring Grill Bill, which we do every Monday. Get Bill uncomfortable, some uncomfortable questions, have a little fun with them. Also give you a chance to win that $50 IGA gift card and qualify to win a Camp Chef pellet grill, the grand prize of Grill Bill. It's every Monday going in for the next few weeks here, and love to have you be a part of it. Just go to 1075thegame.com to sign up, throw some questions out there. If they are anywhere close to what we think we'll have a little fun on the program, which we're doing right now. Stephen giving Patrick a hard time for his pronunciation of Jaguars, or how do you say it again, Patrick?
Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think that's pretty similar to Bill's pronunciation of the college team that has a badger as a mascot and plays in the Big Ten.
Go West, young man.
Who's Joe Burrow the quarterback for?
Oh yeah, you get that one as well.
The Bungles. That was.
You say the Bengals.
Yes, the Bengals. How do you say it? You say it as the 80s all-female group that is famous for Walk Like an Egyptian, I believe.
Me? Yeah. Oh, I said Bengals.
Bengals, and then you get
Bengals?
Bill who says the Bengals.
Yeah, Bill. I was saying Bill because he says Bengals.
That's what it is. It's the Bengals.
Bengals.
I was going to say it. Am I being made fun of, or am I not? I feel like I should be in on the joke.
They're the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's what Bill's saying. I hear
like a
often.
Yeah.
Bengals.
You have an A. Bill has an I.
No one has.
Bill's saying it like the search engine. That's a rival with Google. Bengals.
Oh, I've never heard.
Jingle.
Yeah, he says Bengals.
That's a tough one. So that's like the difference between pen that you write with and a pin that you stick on your person.
Exactly.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't. But
Pencil.
that's where we are after Gamecock football spring practices wrapped up. We got the NFL draft this week, but I mentioned it earlier. After that, we'll certainly have some freedom here on the program to explore other areas where, as in the last few weeks / months, I feel like when Shane Beamer and company have been in the season, we've been hearing from players and coaches pretty consistently. It has the agenda for our show, with baseball season going at the same time, and Carolina baseball back in action at home tonight against the Citadel, by the way, before heading to Ole Miss this weekend. It's all been pretty evident. But as baseball season continues to crank up and the SEC season winds down and we get to the postseason, obviously that'll be kind of the topic. But this week it is rivaling the NFL draft. And this morning, Patrick's gotten some solid history there. Do you feel like you've learned stuff about Gamecocks in the NFL draft through the years too, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard lots of names that I've learned lots of names that I've never heard before. I'm fearful that they'll go one in one ear, out the other, and next draft year I'll relearn all these names again. I've already forgotten.
It's funny that Jason admitted that he was dropping his daughter off to school, just yelling at the radio, "Die!" for Ernest Dye, who's the only South Carolina offensive lineman drafted in the first round. That is a heck of a stat that you brought up today. I didn't know. I didn't realize that. And Jason just mentioned that he was at Carolina back at that time, and everybody was just happy to have a first-round draft pick that is pre-SEC. That was thin times for players, Jason says. It was a different time for sure, but not necessarily thin times, because another texter brought up a team at Carolina that had 3 first-round draft picks was back in 1979, well before going to the SEC. Not the only team, I don't think. That wasn't just in the 1980 draft. Is that correct, Patrick? You have that page, I think, up in front of you. Obviously, George Rogers was the 81 draft where he goes number 1 overall, correct?
Along with Willie Scott, who went 14 that year. And they played
we were told that was 40 years ago today. 40 years ago today is when that draft took place. So 40 years ago today.
First round draft pick off that 1979 team. It was a first round draft pick in 1980. Is that correct?
1979. Rick Sanford.
Oh, okay, sorry. I said Mark. Sorry about that.
Yeah. First ever number 1
first round draft.
First ever first round.
Oh, yeah.
So we have that set of 3 first-round draft picks on the same team, and then we had in 2011, I think it was the only year that Jadeveon Clowney and Melvin Ingram teamed together. So you had Melvin Ingram, Stephon Gilmore, first-round picks in that next year, and then obviously Clowney went on to be the number 1 pick a couple of years later. So that's part of our Gamecock NFL draft trivia this morning. And then how is this whole draft going to go down? Quarterback heavy for sure. Patrick, how long is this trend going to last? Does it have to be, you mentioned 3 years ago, where it's kind of 3.5 stars out of 5, right? From a quarterback draft perspective, 5 quarterbacks taken. The only bust so far is Josh Rosen. Kind of busted in several different areas. You got Sam Darnold out there still as a maybe, which I think is fair because the Jets have been so bad. I think what will define Sam Darnold's career is what happens with the Carolina Panthers, assuming they stick with him. And a lot of people have asked about that since the Panthers have the number 8 pick. But I think the number that you pointed out is the most important of any of the numbers when you're thinking about Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers. 23 years old. That's where Sam Darnold is. Knowing that he kind of almost got a postgraduate career with the New York Jets and has taken some lumps, obviously, but gets to start over with a much better cast, I think, and a much better organization with the Carolina Panthers, and with Joe Brady there as a guy helping to call plays, and with big-time weapon, the best weapon, I would say right now in the NFL, and Christian McCaffrey. I think that's going to help a lot. And I don't know how that pertains exactly to that number 8 pick, but do you think there is a high likelihood that the Panthers end up trading out of that thing and somebody else jumps in there to get a quarterback that they want, especially a guy like maybe Trey Lance, who's still around there? But it will all depend on the number 3 pick with the San Francisco Giants, who say that, 5 quarterbacks right now are good fits for them.
So I think if 4 quarterbacks have gone in the first 7 or maybe 3. Best case scenario is only 3 go, and the Panthers are sitting there at 8. The trade scenario would be Penix was gone, Rashawn Slater's gone, the 2 tier 1 offensive linemen are gone, and the Panthers just decide, hey, there's nobody on our board that matches this value. Let's move back. I would say that their only trade partner would most likely be the Patriots at 15. I don't think they would want to go back 11 or 12 spots to trade with Washington or Chicago. So I would think that would be the situation where New England gets aggressive and potentially moves up to 8. 7 spots is not too many, but if you drop yourself out of the teams, you might not even bother drafting in the first round at that point. Some teams will only have 15 first-round grades in this year's draft, so you got to follow your board and see where that works. But yeah, I would think the Patriots could potentially be a trade partner for them at 8.
Yeah, overall, you've kind of evaluated this draft as kind of a light on just numbers in general of guys coming out. Is this a result of the COVID situation? Is that how you analyze that, or is that just how there are some drafts that are just better than others, just natural?
I do think I definitely think it's COVID, just because there are going to be guys that opted out that are going to get drafted high. Rashawn Slater and Penix, the 2 top tackles in the class, didn't play. Jamar Chase didn't play last year, but they're kind of the only ones whose stock didn't drop at all. Like Gregory Rousseau, the defensive lineman for Miami, had a wildly productive year before 2020. He opted out, and his stock has plummeted because he tested really poorly athletically, and just other defensive linemen have played really well, including Jalen Phillips from his own Miami University. So, like, that is a situation where if he came back and replicated his production from 2019, he'd be way up there. He'd be looking at the defensive lineman class as even more talented. Caleb Farley was pretty highly regarded, even though he didn't play. So his thing's only a back injury. That's what's hurting him. But, I mean, yeah, you didn't really have the opportunity for a ton of guys to come out there and just shine. Like Joe Burrow, the Joe Burrow situation where he comes out of nowhere, no one's talking about him, and he ends up being the number 1 pick. Like, there just weren't as many opportunities for guys to do that. And with a ton of guys opting out, who knows what would have happened with them. Like, maybe next year it'll just be a ridiculously loaded class, and everyone who has multiple picks in the 2022 draft will feel lucky. But the early read is that the quarterback class won't be as talented.
And so right now on your whiteboard behind you on the live video stream, you have the best groups. You have the best and worst. You got the worst groups on the other side of the whiteboard. Tell us why you decided to go. I mean, basically your first group is the group that you would put Shi Smith in, correct?
Yeah, that's why that kind of hurts his overall outlook. Like, that's why he might be a day 3 guy, early day 3, but day 3 nonetheless. It's slot and gadget type receivers. Last year you had bigger guys on the outside. Michael Pittman, who was with the Colts, Denzel Mims with the Jets, like bigger, strong, athletic, big guys. This year, there's a ton
Ryan
of
Edwards
small.
you would put in there too, right?
Ryan Edwards, yeah. This year, it's a ton of small, fast, slot guys, gadgety guys, Kadarius Toney, Rondale Moore, Elijah Moore, guys like that. And I think that's partly also why I would say Jamar Chase is going to be the pick at number 5, because he is a mix of everything. He's basically the perfect wide receiver prospect, maybe if he was an inch or 2 taller, but he is a possession receiver. He's physical, does all that stuff in a group of guys that are mostly under 6 feet and under 200 pounds.
And then more position groups that you have on your board. You got edges, basically the defensive pass rushers, the inside and outside linebacker. Is that what this is? Oh, interior offensive lineman.
Interior offensive lineman, yeah. Those two are very specific. Like, the edge is specifically like athletic freak shows who have massive question marks in some way or another. Like Jason Oweh, who had maybe the best combine ever, but had 0 sacks, and he's only been playing football for 3 years. Or Kwity Paye from Michigan, who was wildly misused and doesn't have a ton of production, but is a freak show. Jalen Phillips, who was awesome, but has retired from the game and come back already because of concussions. Like, things like that are the question marks around the edge. So there's not a clear one edge rusher. There's no Chase Young in this class. And then, interior offensive linemen and lots of guys who play offensive tackle that are going to get moved inside, whether it be Alex Leatherwood, who played left tackle for Alabama, Jack McCarthy played left tackle for Clemson, Liam Eichenberger played left tackle for Notre Dame. Lots of options there. for guys that are
No
going
arm talent for those guys because of the short arms.
T-Rexes, yes. Correct.
Those just had exploded. Also, you got cornerback, linebacker, and then high-end quarterbacks on your list.
Yeah, I don't think it's a deep class outside of those top five. Kyle Trask may go second round. Davis Mills from Stanford may go second round. Kellen Mond may go second round. After that, it's not going to be good. Jamie Newman, the worst. He's going to forever regret not playing football this year because his stock is going to be terrible. He is going to be a late day 3 pick, it looks like.
Remember, it was going into last season, less than a year ago, Bill, that Jamie Newman, the Wake Forest quarterback, was listed as the best quarterback going into the SEC. And now his decision to opt out. Man, how the perceptions have changed between he and JT Daniels since then. And Daniels lightened things up from a number standpoint in the spring game for Georgia as well. It's crazy, man, how much.
24 and stunk it up in the Senior Bowl. So
24 years old, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow. 803-404-6100. If you'd like to get a final comment in on the program, we'll flip the board and Patrick will give his worst position groups out there as it pertains to the NFL draft when we come back. It's the early game here on 107.5.
It's a new year. They're hungry and driven. I want guys that
It's going to get warm over the next few weeks. It's going to turn into June and July and August. You're going to have to deal with the heat. The question is your air conditioner ready to deal with the heat? If it's not, you're going to have some angry family members at you. Don't allow that to happen. Get in touch with AAA Heating and Air today. Let them come out and inspect your unit. Make sure there's nothing wrong with it. No little flaws that this summer could set you up for a really, really bad day. Give AAA Heating and Air a call today. 803-677-1500. Again, that number 803-677-1500. They came out to my house about a month ago, about the beginning of April, the end of March. Looked over my unit, made sure everything was okay because I'm well aware I like my air conditioner and I don't want to face any issues this coming summer. They took care of me. They'll do the same for you. Roy and Dana run a family business. They're phenomenal. They make sure that you are happy with their product, with their service, just like this. Right now, if they do find an issue and you have to get a new unit, they will have a $1,500 savings just to take away your old unit, then offer you 0% financing and no money down on a brand new unit. That's taken care of you. So give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. That's AAA Heating and Air. Give them a call. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Center, Shepherd's Glass, a true
Bill, you gonna make it?
ShepherdsGlass.com.
Oh, yeah. I was just listening to the draft discussion. You know how many? So I looked at the 81 draft. It looks like there was only 2 South Carolina players drafted. There's 12 rounds. 12 rounds. You want to guess if Carlton's still on here? How many South Carolina State players were drafted in the 1981 draft?
Whoa. Just the way that you put it, I'm guessing it's about a half dozen.
It's a great guess. 6 South Carolina State players in the 1981 draft. 12 rounds, including the first one was one. I think you'd call him a semi-famous father. His kids have gone on to. I think his kids or his nephews have all gone on to be very good players.
Gathers.
Robert Gathers. Yep.
Do you know the only South Carolina State player to be drafted in the first round?
Ooh, that's a great one.
It actually looks like I don't know anything about him, but he was a very good player.
Classic. That's because they have 3 Hall of Famers, I think, maybe 4 actually.
Why do I feel like it's Orlando Brown?
I don't
even know if he played for them, but
no, I don't think he went there.
Orlando Brown, like the offensive lineman that just got traded?
No, hit the father.
His dad.
Zeus?
Yeah, I don't think he went to SC State. The 4 Hall of Famers that I'm thinking of: Harry Carson, And isn't it Deacon Jones? I don't think I'm making that up. Art Shell.
Oh, he was. Orlando Brown was undrafted.
But was he a South Carolina State guy?
Yeah. He was from Washington, D.C. and went to South Carolina State.
And one more. Forget who I'm leaving out, but it's got to be one of those guys. And I'm going. It's not.
Not.
It's not Darius Leonard. He didn't get picked in the first round.
Second round.
Yeah, so I got nothing.
Jason got it.
Jason got it on the live stream?
Yeah.
Impressive, Jason.
Chris got it, yeah.
Porsche, huh?
Robert Porsche. Bobby Porsche? Was he Bobby? Was he a Bobby?
He was not.
I thought he was a Robert, but I don't know.
Yeah, Detroit. He was a heck of a player.
95.5 career sacks. Almost on the 100 sack club.
Patrick, where you got Asante Samuel Jr. going? I see you got a
yeah, I mean, he's going to be a fringe. Yeah, he's a fringe first rounder. It's scary how
I forgot.
It's scary how much Asante Samuel Jr. is like Asante Samuel Sr. They are exactly the same player, and they have exactly the same athletic profile.
Wow. So that's pretty cool that you have he and J.C. Horn right at the top of the same draft.
And Patrick Surtain.
Wow, yeah, that's right. That's crazy. I like how 2 out of the 3 went and followed their dad, and the other one went on the other side of the ball.
Right. There's got to be some deals with high profile players. Is there?
So I teased Patrick the back of your board there.
Okay.
Over, please. Where at in the Low Country, LeVar Porsche? You know what high school?
Wando, I think.
Oh, wow.
It says he was born from Wando.
I don't know if Wando High School existed back then.
It might not have existed, but that's when it said like his birthplace. It said Wando.
Kanoy High School?
Kanoy? UG Kanoy?
Said he went to Wando for 2.5 years.
Kanoy.
I'm reading here. I never even heard of Kanoy High School.
All right, about to head back in.
Yeah, I'd heard of that one. That one is that now what has become Cane Bay, wherever Cane Bay is?
Yeah, me.
Never heard of Kanoy.
About 2 minutes coming back. Guys are up.
Your second of 10 chances today. 25K workday payday coming up in just a couple of minutes here. That's a secret keyword at the top of every hour. You text it in to 95819. You get a chance to qualify to win $100 and then enter into the drawing for the grand prize jackpot of $25,000. Again, $25,000 workday payday here on 107.5 The Game. Been a fun show. I mentioned that Patrick was going to turn over the board and give us the worst groups of this year's NFL draft. Patrick, why don't you run through those quickly as we wrap up today's program?
Yeah, defensive tackles, there's just very few good ones. Derek Brown and Javon Kinlaw last year being just very highly touted are a million times better than anyone in this class. Running back, not good. I mean, everybody knows Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. But when you compare that to years past, like Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook all being in one class, it pales in comparison to that. Tight end, funny enough, because the best player in the draft class as a whole might be Kyle Pitts as the tight end, but everything after that, and like Pat Frymuth is a plug-and-play guy from Penn State, not good. Safety, just very slim at safety. Javon Morgan in the first round from TCU is a stud, but that's basically it. And then, like I said last time, possession wide receivers. It's a small class of small guys, a lot of slot guys, a lot of gadget guys.
Impressive. And on the video stream, Bill, what did you just learn? The only South Carolina State first-round draft pick?
Robert Porsche.
Attaboy. That's it. I think Bill fell
What?
asleep.
95.5 career time.
Can you not hear me?
Yeah, we got you. It might have been a bit of a delay. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Appreciate you listening this morning to the early game. Dan Patrick Show coming up next. More fun with the NFL Draft later this week.
Coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of the game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Yeah, you were up.
Was it not Porsche?
No, it was.
Yes, it was. It was the delay, and then the.
Oh, okay.
Answer.
Anticlimactic. Yeah.
I was like, man, I really was not paying attention. I swore that's exactly who he said.
He's going right to the erasing of the whiteboard. What are you throwing up next? Looks like you're excited about it.
2022 mock draft.
Oh, of course. Why
No.
not? This mock draft, this stuff is done.
Number one will be Kayvon Thibodeau, probably.
No,
Really?
we're not doing that. This is where the live
Another
stream
number
ends.
one pick goes number one. Another number one high school recruit.
Yeah, probably. That kid's amazing.
Right in the wheelhouse, the mock drafts and the high school recruiting. What a way to end.